answer 6. The numbers are 34, 42.
Jumping right into it. It's 7 o'clock. It is Thursday evening, and this is Philadelphia Live. Thank you, everyone who's jumping into it, spending some time with us. You just got finished watching the fantastic sports show with Breland and Jason. Jason and Breland, they were talking some about Taylor Swift at the end of the show. I got to get them to come in here and explain that to us. They're talking about all going to concerts together, and Jason's taking his whole family, and Breland's going, and sunglasses and the whole nine. It's a whole thing that they were just talking about on the Fantastic Sports Show. So tonight on Philadelphia Live, as is always the case, we've got a lot going on. We've got reporters spread all throughout the area, getting additional updates on what's going on with the conflict in Iran. Also, a couple hours ago, the announcement was made that the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, has been removed. Senator Mullen has been nominated, but there is a whole process that you have to go through to get that nomination approved. It is likely to be approved because Republicans have the majority, but this particular individual has had his fair share of run-ins during hearings, and one that is now going viral. Guys, we should see if we can find that. There's one that is now going viral that was a hearing a little while back with a union leader where the Senator Mullen, who is apparently also a former MMA fighter, got into it with a union leader and offered to settle it on the Senate floor. And Bernie Sanders, of all people, was the one, Senator Sanders, all respect, was the one who stepped in and stopped this fight from happening. So it will be interesting to see what happens to go forward with the approval process. It also will be interesting because it's a situation where we are currently involved in multiple conflicts, as well as all of the situations going on with ICE that is directly controlled by Homeland Security. So what are you going to do without a person who is effectively running that office, at least in the short term? So all of that going on. We've got sports, we've got weather. As a matter of fact, I'm looking off to the side to see our Kathy Orr will be up in just a second. But we have some of the folks in the room. Guys, there's a job available. Any of you interested? You can hit us up on social media. I'm at Bill A. Fox 29, Fox 29 Instagram page, TikTok page. You can comment on this. There is a $100,000 job at a fast food chain to be the chief tasting officer, where your job is essentially to just eat their food and let them know what you think about it. This is a real job. They are accepting job applications. I may or may not know if the job applications actually go through when you hit apply. But chief tasting officer for $100,000, that is one of our questions of the evening that you can chime in on. Jake has the other one that is up and about. Before we go to Kathy and weather, Jake, we already have another question up.
Yes, we do.
So what is that one? We got to grab this mic and let us know what the question of the evening. So we've got a couple. Like, first, you can comment on my page, on the Fox 29 page. Are you any interest in being the chief tasting officer?
Yeah, I kind of think that would be a dream job.
It's a good job, right?
You know, like, I don't really see any
Sit at
cons
home
to
and
that.
just eat free food.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like after a little bit you would get like sick of it, but I don't know.
You're paying me to eat it.
That's the only con that I see, and it's funny that we're talking about that because my question of the day is, what is your go-to snack?
Huh.
And so our options are cheese doodles, inspired by the fact that today is National Cheese Doodle Day. So we have that.
That's actually a thing.
Yeah, there's a national day for anything.
Okay.
So we have cheese doodles, pretzels, chips, crackers, something sweet, and then healthy food only.
Huh. So I'm not a big snacker.
Okay.
So people will tell you that on my desk here at the station in my office, there is a giant candy dish that I stock up every week, and people come in just to get their snack. I rarely eat it.
So it's for other people, not for you.
No, it just sits there. People come in and check it out.
Noted.
I like sweets.
Okay.
I'll go dessert, but I'm not a big snacker person.
Okay.
So I don't really do that.
Mine's goldfish. So crackers is mine.
Okay.
But something sweet is in the lead. It's actually tied with chips at 43% for votes. So.
Boom. And I haven't voted yet. So when I
Get
go
on that.
I'm going to get on there. You can get on it too.
Yes.
So fox29.com/go vote.
Yes.
The Fox Local tab. Let us know. We're watching the numbers move. What is your go-to snack? And then if you go to the Fox 29 Instagram page or the Bill A
Yes.
Fox 29 Instagram page, are you interested in this chief eating officer? Is that what it's called? The chief tasting officer. $100,000 to
Dream job.
taste junk food. So let us know. A couple comments already coming in. People saying, where do I sign up?
No, seriously.
Where do I apply? All right. I don't know if I should have put that out there because when I start calling in, I got job interviews. People are going to be like, what just happened? All right. So people, you can
Thank
hit it
you.
up. Jake will be monitoring, letting you know what people are saying and their votes. Let's find out what's going on with weather. Kathy keeping us up to speed with everything that's taking place. So Kathy, before you tell us everything that's going on with weather, are you interested in any, well, see, there she goes. So there's our answer. Kathy's on board with animal crackers.
Yep, this is my snack. Our Drew
Okay.
Anderson keeps these stocked, and this is animal crackers.
Is that your go-to snack? Because right now you're super healthy, Kathy Orr.
Yeah, so this is when Kathy Orr is not healthy. Am I talking about myself in the third person?
You are, but it's catching. I always refer. I don't know why I always refer to
You
you
always
first and last
do.
name.
As if there's any other Kathy in the building. Is there? No.
No, there's a whole thing. Like Kathy Orr is not just a name; it's a persona. It's a
Oh,
it's a
okay.
whole thing. So you
Okay.
kind of gotta say it.
All right,
part.
I love it. I just made a mess, Bill Anderson, but we won't
Sorry.
worry about that. We'll,
It doesn't have
we'll
the
just
same
we'll
ring.
hide it with a wrapper. Oh, Bill Anderson? I think it does. I think it
So-
does, Bill Anderson. So yes, so I like going into your candy bin, which I had to give up for Lent because I was so frequent.
You gave up
in
my
your
candy
office.
dish for Lent?
I did. I had to give it up for Lent. I was a
Wow, that's
frequent
hurtful.
flyer. Yeah.
Okay, that's a little
But-
hurtful.
I had to, but this year I didn't because I haven't been that bad. But I would go for the Butterfinger, by the way.
Okay, all right, that's a good snack.
So that is a great snack. But yeah, I go
it.
for animal crackers. So you want to talk about the weather?
Tell me something good about the weather.
It's going to get warmer starting Saturday night. Saturday is going to be a decent day. Friday, I just had to step outside to go to the pharmacy, and it feels beautiful. It's foggy. If you can kind of feel the moisture in the air, but temperatures are still in the mid to upper 40s. And if you have a coat on, it's really nice out there, especially what we've been through, comparatively speaking. So 46 degrees, you can see on Independence Mall. This is right outside our studios. We are so lucky to be in Old City, Philadelphia. Like an evening stroll, you're walking by history. So it's nice out there right now. Visibility reduced in the Poconos for the past couple hours. Down the shore, less than 0.3 of a mile in Atlantic City, 1.3 miles in Trenton. As rain comes in later tonight by 9-10 o'clock, we're going to see that fog dissipate. And you can see ultimate Doppler right now, a line of showers and some embedded storms. You see that yellow? That's moderate rain in the Lehigh Valley and some trailing showers and storms in Harrisburg. So we could even have a rumble of thunder overnight. So if you're like, what the heck was that? Yeah, it was a thunder shower. Nothing severe, but nevertheless, that's what we could be seeing. And of course, it's after 9 o'clock tonight. As we look a little bit closer in the Poconos, in the Lehigh Valley, that's where we're seeing the heavier rain, but it is trailing to the south and east, the heavier stuff that will be moving into the Philadelphia area later. Right now, temperatures in the 40s, Wilmington at 47 degrees, and you can really tell where this warm front is. I've been talking about this front for a couple of days, and it's really the dividing line between this marine layer, this air coming in off the ocean, and temperatures that are cool and temperatures that are warm. To the south of that front, 50s, 60s, 70s. To the north of it, 20s, 30s, 40s. So we have to get that front moving through, and that is not going to happen until later in the weekend. So overnight, low temperatures in the 30s, above average. During the day tomorrow, temperatures almost 10 degrees cooler than they were today. A little bit of a breeze. That ocean air, that easterly wind is what's keeping it cloudy and keeping it cool. We need that warm front to be moving through, and it will. Saturday, temperatures in the 50s, but Saturday night, if you're out, you'll notice a surge of warmth, and that's how we're going to get into the 60s on Sunday. That warmth is going to come in the form of what we call a ridge building as we look at the upper levels of the atmosphere, the jet stream. So warmth, all those yellows and oranges coming up the eastern seaboard, those are 70-degree temperatures and will be very close to 80 by Wednesday. So yes, tomorrow the coolest day. Saturday's transition day, still cloudy. The sun breaks out Sunday, daylight saving time begins, sunset not until 7 p.m. And then, this is what we're waiting for. Walk outside. How about some sunshine Monday, 73, 78 Tuesday. And by Wednesday, close to 80 degrees. That's more like mid-June. The average high around 80 degrees, mid to late June, and then Thursday temperatures fall in the 60s. That's not a big fall. After that, however, we fall into the 40s. So that's going to be very dramatic. Wednesday to Friday, there's almost Wednesday to Friday, yeah, there's almost a 40-degree drop in temperature, Bill. That's a big deal.
I like it. I will take that. I'm all for the weather. Kathy, you know where else there's a 30-degree drop in weather?
Where?
In this room. It's like 7 in here.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know. The studio's like that too. I once had a woman say to me, "Oh, your studios must be so warm because you girls always wear sleeveless dresses." And meanwhile, hold on.
Nah.
This is what I have on when I'm not on the air. I have this
You're
on.
rocking the parka.
I'm rocking the parka.
Nice. I used to make fun of everybody, and they would all the women around here like walk around in blankets.
Oh, yeah.
Or all wrapped up and what have you. And I didn't really get it because the guys are always in suits and ties, and you got on multiple layers.
So you guys are hot.
As you can see, I don't do the suit and tie thing all that often. So I'm starting to relate to it is freezing in here.
Yeah.
Guess they're trying to keep us awake, keep us alert.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
No problem. And I have all these to munch on. All right, I'll see you later.
We'll talk to you in a little bit. Thank you, Kathy Orr.
Okay, bye.
A great weather forecast. We've got great things coming. Just get to the weekend, push forward, all will be well. All right, we have continued to follow all of the situations going on with the conflict in Iran, the strikes and the counterstrikes and the evacuations, and it's changing day to day. And our Asher Red has been following it to keep us posted, Asher, on the latest as this continues to evolve.
Well, Bill, President Trump says the U.S. arsenal has never been better, with a virtually unlimited supply of weapons. But he also says it's still nowhere near where it should be. The Iran conflict marks the first time in a generation that the U.S. has built up this much military firepower in the Middle East. Now, the Pentagon is also using some weapons for the first time, including one-way attack drones and long-range precision strike missiles. And just yesterday, an American submarine sunk an Iranian warship off the coast of Sri Lanka, killing dozens of crew members. And it was the first time the U.S. took out an enemy ship with a torpedo since World War II.
The United States of America has more than enough capability to not only successfully execute Operation Epic Fury, but to go much further. And we have weapon stockpiles in places that many people in this world don't even know about.
In what would be another battlefield first, the U.S. is also reportedly using artificial intelligence to scope out Iranian targets. Now, last night on Fox News, a drone expert urged caution when using this kind of technology.
When machines start picking targets, we as a nation better ask who's checking the machines. Is there going to be no human in the loop, or will human commanders actually steer these decisions, because the AI is only as good as the people training it are, and there's a world of difference between AI assisting a military commander and AI deciding who lives or dies.
And the White House says deploying ground troops to Iran is not part of the president's plan. However, he still hasn't ruled it out entirely. Meanwhile, President Trump says this conflict could last several more weeks, Bill.
Well, and they continue to kind of say no ground troops. They continue to bring out all of the technology, but then you've got the Secretary of War essentially a little braggadocious, saying we will do what we have to do. We're going to squash them. They haven't seen anything yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as it continues to evolve.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how this happens. Just today, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, which is where U.S. Central Command is based, and he was talking about kind of where this stands. And you know, we can definitely pull some stuff out of that to maybe get a better picture of how this operation could go in the next few weeks.
Asher, we will check in with you again a little bit later on. Thank you for the update and for keeping us informed on everything that is going on with that ongoing conflict. Guys, it is expected, and when I say braggadocious, that's not, I mean, it's a position of strength. That's what you expect when you're involved in a conflict, but it has led to the ongoing questions that people have about just how far this situation will go. How far is the United States willing to go? And when you have the Secretary of War saying as far as necessary, you have the President saying this will be a relatively quick conflict, and then a 4 to 5 week conflict, and then however long it takes conflict. You know, it's kind of a we shall see. All right, we're going to get caught up. Again, I started giving you the rundown of all the things that we're going to be focusing on. So next up, in just a minute, we'll be checking in with our Alex George, who's going to take us to a pretty cool thrift store that's being run by young people. We also are going to get additional updates on everything that's going on with Iran, get caught up with sports, the trending topics, and we have got our ongoing question of the day. I also, Jake just informed me that we are not only live on Fox Local, but we are also live tonight on TikTok, on the Fox 29 TikTok page, on Facebook, Fox 29 Facebook page, on YouTube, the Fox 29 YouTube page. So all of those are available, and they all have chat boxes or message boxes. So if you want to interact with us directly, you can jump on any of those platforms. Perhaps we'll put the comments on the screen, maybe not, and we'll hear the things that you have to say. So let's take our first quick break, and then we will come back and continue on. Alex George is up next. Hit us up on social media. I'm at Bill A. Fox 29. We would love to hear from you. We'll be back in just a second. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. It's 7:20, and this is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. And we were talking to Kathy about the weather, what's going on with the weather. And you can take a look around the area from the Jersey Shore to the stadium area through Center City. You can see the fog is there, something that we're dealing with. A little bit of cloudy, perhaps some showers maybe a little bit later on. But right now, things look pretty decent as we make our way around. People who are still out on the road, go ahead get home so you can watch Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So as I said before I was going to the break, our Alex George out and about on a fun story. You got young people who are stepping up and doing some pretty cool things, community-based.
Yeah, Bill, that's right. We're actually at a thrift store, or we were a little bit earlier, and we'll have that for you coming up at 10, the full story. But let me tell you about this thrift store. So everything is free. There is technically a cashier, and you'll bring up your bag full of your items, and they'll give you a receipt, but you don't have to pay anything. So this is by teens for teens, and the thrift store is run by Fab Youth Philly. It's in Kensington, and the whole premise of the store is just to give teens a place to be themselves. And when I say it's run by teens, I mean all of those store clerks there are fellow teenagers that are there to help shoppers style different looks and just kind of help you throughout your shopping experience. It's a pretty big store, so there's lots of levels. They'll take you around, give you a tour, and they were saying, the founder of Fab Youth Philly was saying to us, it's such a different experience to be able to move throughout a store as a teenager here in Philadelphia and not worry that there's going to be a sign that says you can't come in if you're not with an adult and you can't be here past 3 p.m. It's just an experience that's meant for them to get to explore their sense of fashion, their sense of self, and they have everything from prom dresses, business casual for both men and women, casual streetwear, shoes. They even partnered with another local organization in Philadelphia to stock some instruments. And the founder of this organization told us that the instruments lasted 20 minutes because there were people that want to learn to play these instruments. So they found the store and were able to take them out free of charge. They also host lots of workshops. So like I said, they have business casual outfits. They have suits as well. So they host interview prepping workshops, resume building workshops, times where you can work on your LinkedIn. And in the basement of this thrift shop, they actually have a sewing machine where they host classes on how to upcycle and repair clothing. And really, it's a one-stop shop where they're hoping that people will come and hang out and get to explore and experiment with fashion in a way that doesn't have to hurt your wallet. Just because the founder said to us, being a teen is hard, and there's a lot of different expenses that come with that. And especially with spring coming around, you have graduation, you have proms, a lot of things that cost money to be able to dress the way you might want to dress for these events. So the hope is to give these teens a place for both community and comfortability and a way to find fashion that makes them feel good and they don't have to worry about how much it's going to cost. Bill?
So it's by teens for teens. Is it also kind of a hangout spot for them, or it's just coming in and getting the clothes? Because you say they're doing those classes and whatnot. It almost sounds like a clubhouse.
Mm-hmm. It's not, I wouldn't say it's so much a clubhouse, but it's actually affiliated with a local church there. You'll see the church in front, and around the side you'll go into the back where the thrift store is. But they do have different parts of the store where you can truly just hang out. So it probably wouldn't be advertised as a clubhouse, but there's definitely parts of the store that are meant for that, where they host those workshops and they welcome teens to come in and experience it in that way. So they do have the downstairs. They said there's a front room where there's always people hanging out. The founder told us they see anywhere from 30 to 40 people a day, and there's snacks there too. She mentioned you can get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich there. And when we say by teens for teens, we talked about the staff that are also teenagers there, and they're really running the whole thing, from going through the donation bins, organizing it, doing laundry, styling the mannequins. So it really is, and they are salaried, or they are paid hourly to be there, which is a fantastic way to get even more teens in the community involved.
So I am sadly way out of the teen demographic, but so old people like me who want to be supportive, do we donate? Like, how can we help out if we're on board with the issue?
Yes, absolutely. They're always looking for donations, and we're going to have the link to their Amazon storefront in our web story tonight on fox29.com. But yes, you can donate monetary donations. You can also donate clothing. They're always accepting more clothing donations. They try to rotate it as much as they can, so there's always fresh options for people to come in and try on. Keep something new and fresh.
Sounds good. Alex, thank you very much. I'm going to go through my closet and see if they're willing to take any old head clothes to go ahead and get involved in this fashion movement.
Bill just called himself an old head. But what I was going to say is they said they do always need men's clothes and men's suits, because we were talking about how a lot of times with dresses, you might not rewear a prom dress, but maybe a lot of the people who've gone to prom might keep that same suit or tux or something, and they might wear it again. So they're usually lacking donations on sort of that men's formal wear. So if there's anything like that, Bill, that might be nice.
I got you. And I know a local business that will help them out too. I love the idea. I think it's very cool. So any way we can be supportive, we will, and we will look forward to hearing and seeing more on your story at 10 o'clock. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Bill.
Should ask Alex. She's fashionable. I wonder if Alex saw anything in there that she looked at and said, okay. And she's a little outside of the teen demographic, but she could sit there and check out the fashion and the style. Guys, a little bit earlier today, I was mentioning when we were talking to Asher about the ongoing conflict with Iran and some of the strong words that have been mentioned by our Secretary was Defense. He has taken to calling it the Department of War. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. He had a lot to say as he was speaking to people about the conflict and other things. Let's listen.
In just days of Operation Epic Fury, you and your team have delivered nothing short of devastating, precise strikes, taking out the better part of Iran's Navy, making it combat ineffective, neutralizing missile sites and launchers, and establishing total dominance over the skies we fly over and seas we fly over. Our forces are executing with unmatched skill, and the mission is advancing decisively. This is the kind of no-nonsense, results-driven warfighting that America demands. And you're delivering it in spades. You are the man for this moment. Admiral Cooper, on behalf of the President, the Department of War, and every American watching, I want to thank you for the outstanding job you and CENTCOM are doing. Keep pressing the fight, and we are with you all the way. A few thoughts before I hand it over to the Admiral for an update. Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here. We remember and honor our fallen, those 6 that we will soon welcome at Dover, who gave everything for their country in this mission. We remember them. But we remember them by rededicating ourselves even more fervently to this mission. Our commitment to our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively. Having a chance to hear from Admiral Cooper. If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that we'll be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces. And we have no shortage of authorities. The Admiral knows we have clear objectives with maximum authorities on the battlefield. The dumb, politically correct wars of the past were the opposite of what we're doing here. They had vague objectives with restrictive, minimalist rules of engagement. No more. Our authorities, his authorities, CENTCOM's authorities through the President and myself are maxed out. Our capabilities are overwhelming and gathering still, as are those of our Israeli partners. Our munitions are full up, and our will is ironclad, which means our timeline is ours and ours alone to control. As long as it takes to ensure the United States of America achieves these objectives. And as we flow more forces, and as we flow more capabilities, and as our munitions, as we're flying over the top, have even more devastating effects, we set the tempo, we set the timeline, led by the commander on the ground. Our ear is to the ground to listen to Admiral Cooper. What he needs and what he needs, he will get. We are built for this fight, and we are in it to win it. And with that, we'll take a few questions. Yeah, right here.
Sir, appreciate it. Admiral, I wanted to ask, or Mr. Secretary, the Ukrainian president said today that the U.S. has asked for specific capabilities to deal with Shad drones, Iranian drones. Can you guys talk about what you asked for, and has there been any surprises from Iranian capabilities that you guys have seen in the past 6 days?
Go ahead.
We're very familiar with Iranian's capabilities, and as you might imagine, we planned for it right from the outset, and I feel good about what the plan was. Like any good organization, we adjust as necessary to meet the environment, and we've made those appropriate adjustments.
Absolutely. Right here.
Thanks, Secretary Hexeth. I had two for both of you. One, was an American pilot shot down today in Iran? And two, I've heard reports that there's enriched uranium stored in Isfahan. I've also heard reports that there's not a lot of bombing there. Is that on purpose? Do we believe there's enriched uranium there? And would we ever send special forces to secure it?
As CENTCOM pointed out, that those reports of an F-15 being shot down are false. As you can imagine, Iran is doing everything it can to peddle in lies, deception, and inflation of numbers and reality, mostly to propagandize to their own people, right? They've shut down the internet. They're hoping they can convince their own population that they're having success. One thing one of their leaders said recently is that 500 Americans have been killed, they claim. These are lies. The lies will continue. CENTCOM will continue to debunk those lies. So, and as often is the case in conflict, first reports are often wrong. As it pertains to nuclear material and things like that, one of the objectives the president has always said is that Iran will not have a nuclear bomb, nuclear capabilities, but we would never disclose what we will or will not do inside operational plans. So Admiral Cooper's got a plan. We're working that plan, and targets will be struck or not struck according to what we want to achieve. Yeah, right there.
Secretary Hexeth, the president said earlier today in an interview that he would like to have a say in who's the next leader of Iran. Is this an expansion of your military objectives? Do you view it that way? And additionally, you spoke earlier today about how previous leaders have drawn resources from our hemisphere to the Middle East. Mm-hmm. How do you avoid that?
Well, there's no expansion. Ultimately, I think the president's having a heck of a say in who runs Iran, given the ongoing operation we have. So there's no expansion in our objectives. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. I think today's a great example of what this War Department is capable of doing. I was just in another part of Florida today where we announced America's counter cartel conference. 18 countries coming together from Central, South America, and the Caribbean coming together to fight cartels. That is something that is ongoing. We're focused there. We're focused in the Indo-Pacific. We can mass combat power in CENTCOM. EUCOM is able to support that as well. So we know we're laser focused on our hemisphere and our homeland. That's why we locked down the border. That's why we're working with partners to take on cartels. That's why we're sinking drug boats. That's why we're on the offense there. But the beautiful things about combatant commands is that, Brad Cooper's laser focused on Central Command, just like Frank Donovan is laser focused on Southern Command. We can do both. That's what a global power can do. Ultimately, this issue of Iran's nuclear pursuit and their unwillingness through negotiations to stop it was something President Trump has said for a long time needs to be dealt with. And after 47 years, he's doing something that no other president was willing to do. And we're doing it overwhelmingly, and we're doing it decisively, while also in other parts of the globe having the desired effects. I mean, take, for example, what we displayed yesterday, the Iranian ship in the Indian Ocean, sunk by Indo-PACOM, another combatant command, who coordinated with us in order to make that happen. So America's reach is global. Our focus here, though, these missions are narrow, they're scoped, and Admiral Cooper is well on his way to ensuring that we reach those objectives. Absolutely. Right there.
That was a little bit earlier today. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth talking about the United States' capabilities, capacity, and giving an update on the ongoing conflict with Iran. We're going to get an update on some of the evacuations, the challenges that people are facing trying to get home from those areas, airports that are closed, restricted flights. That's coming up. But first, let's take a break. This is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, all streaming platforms. You can check us out there and comment there. We will answer your comments at some point. Just stay tuned.
2 minutes. Does anyone see what time we got?
7:35 here on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. This is Philadelphia Live. You just heard from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth kind of giving an update on the United States and the conflict in Iran and where we stand with military capacity. But one of the things that has been an ongoing challenge, a struggle, a discussion, are people who were told to evacuate but didn't necessarily have the capacity to get out. Initially, they were not, or at least reports were that they were not getting the support that they needed. Kaylee Schuyler's been looking into it. And Kaylee, if that was the case before, it seems like it's changed now.
It does seem like these flights have kind of started to ramp up today. Earlier, the Department of State said that more than 20,000 Americans have now made it back to the U.S., but Secretary of State Marco Rubio says there's still nearly 1,600 Americans that need help. So the Department of State says they are working closely and directly with these people to get them seats on commercial flights, and they're also organizing bus routes to get people out of harm's way.
We're identifying specific individuals with specific options in order to depart the region. That includes moving people from areas where airspace is closed to where airspace is open, where they might be able to get a charter or commercial flight.
This morning, an Emirates airline spokesperson saying in part, quote, for the 5th and 6th of March, over 100 flights will depart from Dubai and return. These flights will carry people eager to reach their final destinations, as well as essential cargo like perishables and pharmaceuticals. Now, I spoke with Vic Carroll. He's the pastor of Calvary Chapel, Summerville in South Carolina. He led a group of 39 people on a trip to the Holy Land, and they were just 3 hours out from their flight home when violence erupted and the airspace shut down. The group had to shelter in place for several days before they decided to take a bus out of Jerusalem, and Carroll says it was a tough decision to make.
We ultimately, made the decision between, what was bad and what was worse, and I thought the worst would be to stay. We were instructed that if the siren goes off while we're on the road, the bus would pull over. We would then all need to get on the ground, lay on the ground face down for at least 10 minutes until the threat was gone, and then be on our way.
Now, I've been texting with Vic Carroll and his wife, Melanie, and it was just about 2.5 hours ago that they texted me that they had landed at JFK, and Melanie sent a text that said, it's surreal, with a bunch of exclamation points. So you can only imagine the relief that whole group, 40 people, are now feeling to be back in the United States. And Secretary Rubio says that they are going to continue to ramp up the charter flights and the on-the-ground transportation over there in the Middle East, Bill.
It's got to be reassuring, because to get that information and to know that the government is backing them, because I heard, and I know that you heard on social media, that people felt like they were not getting the necessary support. But now it seems like that has ramped up. People are getting home. And it's nice to hear that you're getting a chance to check in with people and hearing that all is going, I guess, as well as could be expected.
Yeah, I guess as well, as could be expected. When I was talking to Vic, he said they were really nervous about the flight, the fact that they were going to be up in the same airspace that potential missiles could be in. But yeah, it does seem like things have really started to pick up today. We heard, as you were talking about, some of those miscommunication issues, or people saying they hadn't heard anything, they had filled out the forms but hadn't heard a word. Officials, it seems like, have come out and said, we've worked on this. And so now there's still nearly 1,600 more people to go, but we've seen quite a few reunions back here in the international terminal at Logan. So there are still a lot of happy people landing in the U.S. tonight.
Kaylee Schuyler, thank you very much. We will check in with you again later. We appreciate the updates. And that is kind of breaking down, as Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, was saying, there is misinformation that's out there. There are a lot of things going on and people just don't have all the information. So Kaylee being able to kind of bring it to us firsthand, the things that people are saying. People are finally figuring out ways to get back home. That is certainly encouraging, and I'm sure reassuring for people who were previously stuck in various locations. It is 7:40, and so last night as we were wrapping up the show, getting ready to leave, and here comes Marcus, because we've had a whole discussion about the Sixers. Breland and I were going back and forth about the Sixers. Marcus comes storming into the control room saying,
Bill.
Don't disrespect my Sixers.
Say it loud, Bill.
You did. Said it with your chest. So, yes, they beat a tanking team.
Doesn't matter. A win's a win. Listen,
Okay.
when they make the playoffs and it all depends on standings and wins and losses, we're not going to think about how they beat Utah. They're just going to think about the wins and losses. That's all that matters.
Are you, and you know, because when I come back to sports, I'm that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sixers guy. I'm all in. I still got Aaron McKee jerseys. Like, those are the things that, but are you still encouraged by the Sixers? Like, is there enough going on that you feel like it's still something you're invested in?
Absolutely. I mean, the key thing is their health. I mean, when they're healthy, then this team can be good. It's when they're not healthy, it's when this team can be, I don't want to say bad, but unpredictable, because you're going to have games like the San Antonio game, and then you're going to have games like the Utah game when they don't have anybody and they can still win. Now, I know Utah is a bad team, but this team can still win with the players that they have when their stars are out. So if they can do that without their stars, then as long as they're healthy and not getting into any kind of stupid trouble, then I actually am very optimistic on the Sixers team.
It's interesting because we will sit there and both of us joke about Utah is a bad team, but you look at the people that the Sixers ran out there last night. I mean, it was Tyrese Maxey and a bunch of bench players or worse. Like, their second leading scorer was a guy who started the season as a two-way player. Like, he's a nice player, but those are solid wins because we're throwing a team out there that is lacking the firepower.
I mean, absolutely, and it's just one of those times where everybody has to step up, and Jabari Walker stepping up last night was a huge example of that. And I mean, you got other stars as well. I mean, obviously, when you have Andre Drummond struggling, you need a Dembona to step up. When you have, say, like other guards that are out, you got guys like Tyrese Martin, who is that? But I mean, when it matters most and they show that they can play, I mean, that's what's most crucial about this team.
Yeah, I believe that. It's not as encouraging when you have to say who is that for a team that you are hoping can make a deep playoff run. But right now they just got to tread water. They got to get to the playoffs in order to make that run.
And speaking of getting to the playoffs, I mean, the Flyers on the other side, they are on the outside looking in, trying to get at least within a few points of that last wild card spot. Right now they're playing, I'm looking at my phone right now they're playing Utah Mammoth, so another Philly versus Utah matchup. I mean, tale as old as time. But yeah, so the Flyers are currently scoreless after the first period. At last check, they were a few points behind Boston for that last wild card spot. A key note with them is the trade deadline is tomorrow at 3 p.m., where the Flyers could be making moves. They need a couple key pieces, and there's a couple pieces that they may be giving away. Rasmus Ristolainen is one of them. He actually was just honored today with his 800th game. He is a huge name that has been talked about being on the trade block for the Flyers. So, I mean, we talk about how the Sixers are in trying not to jump out. The Flyers on the outside trying to jump into the playoff race. And right now they're currently on a 3-game winning streak, so hopefully we can make it 4 by the end of the night, or at least get overtime to get a point. I mean, when it comes to, we joke about, wins and losses for basketball. When it comes to hockey, at least you just need to make it to the end of regulation, either tied or with the lead, to at least get points. So that's the key thing for the Flyers there. Utah, Mammoth, as you can see by the standings, they're actually a good team in the West. So just for the Flyers to get a point would be crucial, but also a win would be key just because it's a matter of a point to where it gets them closer to that last spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the Flyers to puff my chest out and talk about them, so I'm going to take your word for it and your insight.
You are so high on the Sixers. There's so many other winter teams, winter sports going on. You can't even support the orange and black, Bill. Like, come on, do your homework,
Bill.
Bill.
Jersey
Do your
back
homework.
in the sports department that is my Flyers jersey. I haven't seen yours.
Mine's at home because I bring them to games. And who's to say that jersey in our sports department is even yours anyway? I don't see your name on it. I don't see a receipt. For all I know, we could have gotten it from, any of the actual Flyers fans, not some fake one that brings in a Flyers jersey just to, spruce up our sports department. I'm just saying.
Nobody brings in a fake Brashear jersey. Like, the fact that it's a Donald Brashear jersey puts it right in line
That is
with
true.
me saying I still
That
got
is
an
true.
Aaron McKee jersey.
I was about to say, you can't make that up to wear this.
Nah.
It's too good.
Nothing says old school, don't know hockey, but love the Brashear, like Brashear jersey. All right, one more thing, Marcus.
Sure,
We're
go ahead.
hearing a lot, the combine, we're doing that every day is another
Mhm.
rumor as it relates to the Eagles.
Of course.
Just kind of let it play out, or are you invested in seeing all of this, the A.J. Brown drama, the free agency drama, or are people just looking for a story?
People are just looking for a story, in my opinion. I mean, I am one to wait until, I'm one of those people that's like, I'll wait to see when it actually happens. So when it comes to A.J. Brown talk, or the latest now is the Max Crosby conversation, I'll believe it when I actually see it. For now, I don't believe the hype until it actually happens personally.
Sounds good. Does Rick McLeish still play for the Flyers? I think that name means something. Bobby Clark? Any of those guys?
No. I appreciate you for Wikipediaing the
Michkov.
Flyers when
I know
I'm there.
Michkov.
Michkov, there you go.
That
good,
guy.
good for you. Good for you.
I
Bill.
know
I'm
him
proud of you.
because my pretend nephew wants a Michkov jersey.
Get him one. Get him one. He'll be with the Flyers hopefully for a while, so get him now while you can.
All right, I think you should rock Brashear, but you know. Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate you.
Thank
we will
you.
check in just a little bit.
Absolutely.
There is a whole control room who's laughing at me. Can you name a Flyer? See how quiet it got? You sitting there, right? Now, everybody knows and loved Bernie Perrant, and you're going Clark too. I said Clark.
That's my era.
I know that. Chris is laughing at me. You can't name a single Flyer. A current single Flyer. Carly? Not a single Flyer. Jake? All right, so that means I'm one up. Lindros.
Not current.
That means that I am one up on everybody else in the room. Well, no, you stepped up. But all the people who were laughing at me, I named one more Flyer than they can. All right, quick break. We'll be right back. It's Philadelphia Live on Fox Logo. Let me break out the Google machine and learn about some of these Flyers. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. There are comments coming in on social media. We're streaming on multiple platforms on Fox Local, on our Fox 29 YouTube page, on our Fox 29 TikTok page, Facebook page, all the things. And fox29.com. We've got questions up. We've got go votes up. Chris has the go vote. Let's pull that up on the screen real quick before we go to Cam. And the question of the day is, what is your go-to snack? It looks like the red means that Chris voted for chips. Okay. So let us know what you think. We will continue to follow that and give you updates. And then I posted the question about who is interested in being the chief tasting officer for a national fast food chain. That basically means you make $100,000 to taste their food. So you can comment at Fox 29 Philly, at Bill A Fox 29 on all streaming platforms. Cam is here from Cam's Corner, the chat with Cam, all the things, trending topics. Cam Scrivens, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Bill?
I'm great. Thank you very much.
Good. We have a lot trending on the web today and nationally. Number one, I want to get to the CDC has issued a travel advisory for 32 countries over the spread of polio. So those countries include Spain, Poland, Benin, the list goes on. They're basically saying if you have anything booked for these countries, maybe think twice, but there are some precautionary measures that you can take as well. Go to fox29.com and click on that headline that you see right there, and you can get the full list of countries and things that you might want to look out for. Another story that I want to mention is Amazon down? So over 19,000 people reported outages over the afternoon. I will say I just checked right before getting on, and the number has gone down significantly. So it's looking like Amazon is back up and running. But if you were having issues, yep, another outage. And we in the ladies' room, we had on a guest. Her name is Tracy Rogers, and she's an astrologist. And Mercury is in retrograde. So Bill, I feel like she always says Mercury is the planet of communication. It feels like this whole week we had TikTok down, Amazon down. There were just a lot of technological issues going on. And Tracy Rogers, would say that it's because Mercury is in retrograde. That ends March 20th, but it might be the factor, it might not. It depends on what you guys believe in, but that is the latest on what's trending.
Wait, so the problems with the social media platforms because Mercury's in retrograde?
That's what the astrologists say.
I don't even know what that means.
Mercury is the planet of communication. So when it's retrogrades, everything is out of sorts. So sometimes astrologists will say, emails might not be sent, or text messages may be misconstrued. There are technology fumbles that happen. So there's a lot that might happen when it comes to communication when Mercury is in retrograde, and that's happening right now until the 20th.
So 2 questions then. How does the computer know that Mercury's in retrograde?
That's a great question. I think it's the universe thing. So if you believe in that, then maybe you do think it's connected. But that's a great point.
And then my second question is, how often does that happen? Because I feel like whenever stuff starts to go crazy, there are people who are like, well, Mercury is in retrograde, so that's what we've got to expect.
I'm one of those people. It happens every couple months, so a couple times per year. We do have another one coming at the end of the year, I think in around October. So right now there's a lot going on with the planets. If you're into that, I can get some more details for the next hit, but yeah, there's a lot going on.
I just think you plan your crazy around when Mercury's going to be in retrograde.
But we can't.
I'm one of those people. You just tell people I'm getting ready to go off because Mercury's going to be in retrograde.
Well, doesn't it feel like it's like, oh, this outage, that outage, oh, my computer's not working. Jake, our production assistant, he's like, my computer just keeps turning off out of nowhere. It keeps dying. That just can't be a one-off, of course.
No, so as much as I am half making fun of all this, real talk. I'm sitting around in my office yesterday. We were having work done in the house, and they text me, out of nowhere, all the electricity just went off.
See?
It happened.
Coincidence?
And wait, how long has it been in retrograde? Because last week, a water pipe bust, and they shut off all the water on my block. I feel like Mercury is just impacting my neighborhood.
No, it's everyone. It's everyone. I think it started on the 26th of February.
All right, I'm on board now. This is making sense. This makes perfect sense to me now.
I got you covered.
That's
no worries.
explaining a lot of stuff right now. Thank you, Cam. We will check in with you in just a little bit. It makes sense. I got a lot of stuff that's going wrong right now, and I didn't even realize Mercury was in retrograde, but now I've got the explanation that I need. Hit us up. Let us know what you think on any of the streaming platforms. Let's see, Jake, if any of the people over there know anything about Mercury being in retrograde. You can comment on Fox Local, Fox 29 YouTube page, Fox 29 Facebook page, Fox 29 TikTok page, Bill A. Fox 29, gratuitous self-promotion. Go ahead and follow me, and we will be back. This is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We actually had some technical difficulties earlier on the 4 o'clock show, probably because Mercury's in retrograde. We'll be back. Just about 8 o'clock here on Philadelphia Live. And as we continue to get caught up on things that are going on, as we always tell you, part of the goal is to make sure we are here for you all throughout the day. So we begin these broadcasts at 4 a.m. when Good Day comes on, take you all through the day here on Fox Local and streaming platforms. And now from 7 to 10 into the evening. So the ultimate goal very soon is to be 24 hours. If it's happening, we will bring it to you in real time, regardless of where it's taking place. A little bit earlier today, it was one of those situations where President Trump was hosting the MLS champions, soccer. It was about a celebration of them being there. As you know, championship teams are invited to the White House in a lot of circumstances. So the team was there, but anything right now is an opportunity for media to ask questions about what's going on with Iran, or for the president to discuss what's going on with Iran. And that's what happened during this meeting with the MLS champions.
And before we begin, I think I will say a few words about what's going on with respect to our operation in the country of Iran. The United States military, together with the wonderful Israeli partners, continues to totally demolish the enemy far ahead of schedule and at levels that people have never seen before, actually. We're destroying more of Iran's missiles and drone capability every single hour, knocking them out like nobody thought was possible. As soon as they set off a missile, within 4 minutes, the launcher gets hit. They don't know what's happening. But we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. Their Navy is gone. 24 ships in 3 days. That's a lot of ships. Their anti-aircraft weapons are gone. So they have no air force. They have no air defense. All of their airplanes are gone. Their communications are gone. Missiles are gone. Launches are gone, about 60% and 64% respectively. Other than that, they're doing quite well. I said, what's left? But they're tough, and they want to fight. And they're calling, they're saying, how do we make a deal? I said, you're being a little bit late. And we want to fight now more than they do. We've had 47 years, depending on the way you count it, but 47 years of horror with this group. And, when you see somebody walking down the street without their legs, without the arms, whose face is so badly affected and hurt, it mostly came from 95% Soleimani and Iran, and we, other presidents, lived with it. I didn't live with it. And so our people are doing a great job. Again, the greatest military anyone's seen. Thank you. Thank you very much. And yesterday, my administration announced decisive action to help keep down the oil prices, including offering political risk insurance for tankers transiting into the Gulf, as you know, pretty dangerous territory. Further action to reduce pressure on oil is imminent, and the oil seems to have pretty much stabilized. We had it very low, but I had to take this little detour, if it's okay with everybody. Scott, it's okay with you? Scott's the one who has to put up with it. He said, you have to do this now? I said, I have to do it, Scott, right? But it's been very strong, and everybody, including Scott, everybody feels we had really no choice. They were going to hit us if we didn't hit them, because they're crazy. And in the long term, the actions we're taking will dramatically increase the stability of the region and oil prices and stock markets and everything else. We set the all-time record in history with the Dow going to 50,000. So Dow is at 50,000. It was supposed to be maybe, if we were lucky, within by the end of my presidency in 4 years. And we did it in my first year. We did the S&P 500. We did that in a period of less than a year. And that was even tougher than the Dow, they said, so it wasn't going to happen. But we have a great country. We have a country that's never done this well. We've had tremendous success in so many different ways. I built the military and rebuilt it in my first term, and we're using it more than I'd like to use it, to be honest with you. But when we used it, we found out it certainly did work. When we look at Venezuela, when we look at the first attack, Midnight Hammer, in Iran, which really set the stage for what we're doing right now. It's been pretty amazing. And I'm once again calling on all members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the military, and the police to lay down their arms. They're only going to be killed. And now is the time to stand up for the Iranian people and help take back your country. You're going to have a chance after all these years to take back your country. Accept immunity. We'll give you immunity. And we'll be giving you really the right side of history, because that's what it is. So you'll be perfectly safe with total immunity, or you'll face absolutely guaranteed death. And I don't want to see that. They don't want to see it either. We also urge Iranian diplomats around the world to request asylum and to help us shape a new and better Iran with great potential. It's a country with great potential. There's much better future for Iran. It's now beginning. It's going to be, I think, a great future. And the United States will ensure that whoever leads the country next, Iran will not threaten America or its neighbors, Israel, anybody. If you look at what happened, they had missiles aimed at all of these other countries, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, many others, that weren't really involved very much, and they had missiles aimed. Well, they were aimed there long before this ever started. They were going after the entire Middle East. And then we came along. We blew up their party. So we have phenomenal people. I want to thank all of the people that have been involved. Marco, you've been doing a fantastic job. And you've been doing a fantastic job on a place called Cuba. And A-Rod came in before. I said, hey, do you want to come up to a little He's gone to plenty of award ceremonies. Thank you, A-Rod. Big fan. But what's happening with Cuba is amazing. And we think that we want to finish this one first, but that will be just a question of time before you and a lot of unbelievable people are going to be going back to Cuba. Hopefully not to stay. We want you back, and we don't want to lose you. We don't want to make it so nice that they stay. But some people probably do want to stay. They love Cuba so much. I hear it all the time. That was another one that wasn't supposed to happen. Venezuela is going great. It's been stabilized. We have a wonderful person as your president-elect, Delcy Rodriguez, and she and her staff have been doing a fantastic job working with us. We're taking out hundreds of millions of barrels of oil, and it's going to Houston and various other places where it's being refined, and we're sending them back far more money than they've made in many years, and actually very shortly it'll be more money than they've ever made. And Venezuela is working. So we've had a lot of countries in places that truly love, you would say football, I would say soccer, but these are all countries that love football/soccer. And so I think the group likes it. And if you'd like, you could sit. I know I'm a very exciting speaker, but you can sit down if you'd like, okay? I'm looking at everybody standing. I'm saying, let's sit down. Because we're here to honor these great champions, and we want to take our time, right?
And so that was an interesting discussion. So the president was there, as you could see. He was there to honor the Miami soccer team. They won the championship. That's why you heard the reference to A-Rod. A-Rod is actually the baseball player, owns a percentage of that team, so they were all there. But then it kind of turned to the right and became a discussion about what's going on with Iran and the updates of the state of the conflict there in Iran and so much more. So there were a lot of those types of things happening today. We're going to go just a little bit later. We won't do that right now, I don't think, although they're telling me that we can. So there is another kind of similar path was taken by the secretary, former secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. So Kristi Noem had been fired. So at that point, it was pretty new. It was breaking news. It was a couple hours ago. Everyone was talking about the fact that President Trump had removed Kristi Noem from that position. And so there were a lot of people who were talking about it. Everyone expected that when she came out. Now, it was, in the former secretary's defense, it was a scheduled meeting with some of the people who were her staffers, some of the people who have worked closely with her. So it was a scheduled meeting that they were supposed to have for her to go ahead and come out and address what was going on. Everyone assumed, and that therein lies the problem, everyone assumed that if she came out and it was just, minutes to an hour after having just been removed from the position, that you would have something to say in terms of responding to it, your feelings about it. And so everyone was kind of watching closely to see if any comments would be made. So she came out, did a lot of discussion and appropriately acknowledging some of the people who were a part of her team, talking about the fact that they have done tremendous work together. They have done a lot of positive things. But then didn't really say much. So we're going to get to that, and we'll let you hear it in just a second. We also have the kind of back and forth explanation from President Trump and former Secretary Kristi Noem. So let's pull up some of their social media comments that they posted a little bit earlier. So the president first put his comment out on, was this on X or on Truth Social? So let's bring that up on the screen so that everybody can see it. So the president posted, "I'm pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security, effective March 31st, 2026. The current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results especially on the border, will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere we're announcing on Saturday in Florida. I thank Christie for her service at Homeland. So on the surface, that does, I mean, it's clearly a demotion because you're being pulled out of the position of the Secretary of Homeland Security. Someone else is being given that position. So clearly it's demotion, but it was presented as if she is kind of moving on and taking the responsibility for the Shield of the Americas. And the timing also indicates that it was a demotion on the heels of a bunch of comments that were made. So then Secretary Noem comes out with this comment: "Thank you, President Trump, for appointing me as the special envoy for the Shield of the Americas. Secretary Rubio and Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, are incredible leaders. I look forward to working with them closely to dismantle cartels that have poured drugs into our nation, killed our children and grandchildren. The Western Hemisphere is absolutely critical for U.S. security," and so on and so forth. I mean, you can all, watching, likely read this as much as I can read it to you. She talks about the historic accomplishments of the Department of Homeland Security to make America safe again. But that was the somewhat, I mean, odd probably seems like too harsh of a way to say it, but it was an interesting comment because all of that came out talking about this kind of repositioning, a new position for her, not a demotion, when pretty much everybody understood it to be just that. And various senators, and we'll have some of their comments for you, were commenting on the fact that this has taken place. So we will explore that a little bit later on. We're expecting another report on what's going on with Iran. We're looking for our reporter to jump up and join us momentarily. If he's not there yet, if he's not ready, then we can go ahead and listen to the comments that we were talking about. So this was when Secretary Noem came out. She addresses this group. Everyone was kind of expecting that she would say something about the new position, and instead made these comments.
We've seen 3 million people leave our country that were here illegally, but over 750,000 of them were arrested and detained and removed. We'd much rather prefer that they volunteer to go home and that it can be a volunteer situation, but if not, if people are here illegally and committing crimes, we want to make sure we're able to detain them and get them out of your communities before we create more victims in the United States. I'm grateful for the work that you do because it's made a difference across this country. This last year, we've seen our murder rate in the United States of America drop to the lowest level since it's ever been recorded. And we've recorded our murder rate across the country for 125 years, and this year we broke the record for the lowest murder rate in the country, and that's because of the work of individuals in this room and individuals that we've been able to partner with. We've also taken 1.7 billion lethal doses of drugs off our streets and stopped them from coming into the United States. That means 1.7 billion people will still be with us because of the work that our agencies and our work has done. Our Coast Guard is an important asset in the Department of Homeland Security, and they've worked with us, and maybe have worked with some of you in the room as well, to help interdict those drugs and stop them from coming into our country. You know, President Trump has been working hard to make sure that he's delivering on what he promised the American people, and that's to make America safe again. In doing so, we have gone out and found over 1,500 known and suspected terrorists that were led into this country over the open border invasion that we saw during the last administration. Those 1,500 individuals who were already on our known and suspected terrorist watch list have been brought to justice and removed. We know there's many more, but we're going to still continue to look for them, to find them, and to do all that we can to make sure that this country is safe. Beyond that, we've also arrested and removed over 7,700 gang members, TDA members, MS-13, Sinaloa cartel. The president is extremely focused on fighting cartels and recognize them as a foreign terrorist organization so that we can have new authorities to go after them. And we'll be working throughout the Western Hemisphere with all the countries to make sure that we're biting the snake off, cutting its head off with fighting the cartels before they ever reach the United States, stopping the drug flow, stopping the guns and ammunition from getting here and hurting our families in the homeland. We'll continue to work together to make sure that we have the opportunity to do that. To everybody in the room that puts on a uniform, that wears a badge, that steps out every single day and does something that so few others do, put your life on the line for your brothers and your sisters and your families, and you do it in your home community, I want to say thank you. And I also want to let you know that I believe that if there's something that you need for your families, that you need to let us know. I've found many times people can't do their job with excellence if there's a crisis at home. I've been working to get raises and better salaries and retirements for all of our law enforcement officers that are at the Department of Homeland Security, because I recognize that if you're having challenges at home financially, providing for your family, working overtime to make ends meet, trying to buy a house and put food on the table, it's very difficult to focus on your job and to do it with excellence. We want to take care of our families. So all of your suggestions and ideas, bring them forward. I will continue to push for that because I'm a strong believer that we need you at the top of your game every day. And that means that your family needs to be right beside you, happy, healthy, and whole, and that God can continue to protect you and protect them and make sure that you have a chance at the American dream too. So with that, why don't we open it up to some questions? I know some of you may have some prepared and some of you may just thought, hey, I've always wanted to ask her this. You sure can. Yes, sir. Yes. Oh, thank you.
Given our current state in Chicago, we understand we have no comment about the sanctuary law enforcement. More of a targeted response. I think the hearts and minds of a lot of great grandson of Mexican Post immigrants. A lot of people, they just, when you go after, for lack of a better term, the tamale lady, it kind of like, they've been there 30 years, they're not causing trouble as opposed to criminals and just.
Right.
I think that needs to be the focus in Chicago, more strategic planning that needs to happen.
Yep.
Suited for that as a.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Especially these sanctuary cities where we can work on targeting those individuals who have a criminal history besides their legal status that may be in violation of their visa or work permit, but that we work on those and make sure we're going out and doing that with the local law enforcement as much as we possibly can. And that is something that we are going to continue to do and make sure that we're focusing and prioritizing those individuals and make sure that we're addressing the public safety threats there. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Tax-free pensions for retirees, law enforcement.
Okay, let me visit with him about it. That'd be great. Well, we're talking about doing some other tax benefits for other, so that may be something we could wrap into that conversation. Great idea. Perfect. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. My name is Chris Callaghan. I'm the Vice President of San Francisco Police Officers Association. First of all, I just want to say thank you for recognizing major cities and all of our police unions here across the nation. It means a great deal for you to be here today, so thank you for that. My question, local officers have increasingly been on the front lines of Homeland Security, yet we are still funded and staffed like a city responsibility, not a national one. How will DHS ensure local agencies aren't carrying federal priorities on local budgets and with local staffing?
So you maybe have some challenges in San Francisco just because of your state laws and local laws that may, although you've got a mayor that works with us very well.
That's great.
He probably doesn't want me to talk about it a lot, actually,
Please do.
But he has been cooperative, and we have great conversations and talk quite often. And many times in doing law enforcement in your city, if the federal task force is coming in, you know, it's more preferable for the FBI to lead and the Department of Homeland Security to come in supportive roles, which is what we've done, and that works very well in your city. Thank you for your focus there, too. I think the city is seeing some dramatic improvements under this leadership. When you talk about funding, we have tied a lot of our funding that we have for enforcement this year and prioritized over $1.5 billion towards 287G agreements. So we've reimbursed departments that have an agreement, or a county or a sheriff, with funding them on overtime or on benefits, some of the other things that we can do. We've also, on the jail model, obviously reimbursed per beds. If you don't have the opportunity to participate in 287G, I think your best options for funding alternatives would be through some grants that we have at the department. We have specific grants towards terrorism grants that you can do, some security grants, and there's hazard mitigation grants that are in Homeland Security, safety grants through FEMA that would be available. So maybe what I'll do is I will forward those grant opportunities to all of you so that you can share them with your departments and have that opportunity. We also have some grants specifically targeted towards special operations. So if you've got some special operations that fit into that category, we could get you some funding that way.
Great. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes. Hi, Craig. Yes. Mm-hmm.
One police officer and one sergeant called Border Patrol for assistance, and then after that happened, he tried to fire them for asking Border Patrol to come assist them.
Oh, shoot.
Most recently, they just suspended both officers for 30 days without pay.
The Border Patrol?
No, Detroit
those
police.
officers in Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit
Okay.
police. So the one incident was the female of the house called because the husband was trying to break into the house. When the officers got there, he had a bad passport and a bad Social Security card. So they called Border Patrol for assistance.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up taking him to jail because he had a warrant outside the city of Detroit. The second one was, it was a traffic stop. The fingerprint reader wasn't working, so they called for them to bring theirs over there, and the person had a warrant also. So both officers got suspended without pay for 30 days.
So did the officers that did the arresting, was that the Detroit officers that did it, or did the Border Patrol?
Border Patrol ended up arresting them because one had an out the city warrant, and the other one had other information that.
Okay. That's one of the things that I think a lot of citizens don't necessarily know, is that CBP and ICE are law enforcement officers and do enforce other crimes that have been committed. But if we can be advocates for those law enforcement officers, we certainly will. And maybe we could come up with some kind of an agreement that would allow those officers to still be able to call on Border Patrol for backup and assistance when they need it. I hate to put them in a situation where now the officers in Detroit, when they need help and need assistance, that they can't call on Border Patrol when they might be the closest asset. So maybe I'll get some contact information from you and see what we can do to work out an agreement with Detroit on being able to call on Border Patrol with some guidance on how those interactions will work.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. We've seen 3 million people leave our country that were here illegally.
So that was the former Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. And what was interesting about those extended comments is that she did not in any way address the elephant in the room, and this was just shortly after she had been removed from her position. Instead, that sounded much more almost like a state of the department kind of speech about all of the successes that they have accomplished and all the different things that she's going to do moving forward, even saying, well, I should meet with that person. I will have further discussions with that person. It led a lot of people to speculate as to whether or not at that point she just wasn't even aware that it had been released, that her position was being changed. We don't know that, but it was odd for people who were watching to do an entire discussion and statement about kind of the future and the successes of an organization that you're no longer going to be heading. We'll have more comments on that, get caught up on more issues and things going on across the entire country and the world. We'll get back to you in just a couple of minutes. This is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. Stay tuned. 827 Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So we were talking a little bit earlier and listening a little bit earlier into the comments of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who was talking about the United States' power and strength and ability to continue the mission wherever it takes, his words, as it relates to the conflict in Iran. Let's listen to the rest of his comments.
We're as well on his way to ensuring that we reach those objectives. Absolutely. Right there. Absolutely.
Much, Secretary. President Trump, in his first speech after the launch of the Operation Epic Fury, he addressed Iranian people and he said that there is going to be a time for you to come out, but it's not now. Stay home. It's not safe. I want to know if there is a timeline for that you're going to urge Iranian people to come out, how that is going to play out, and how are you going to protect the protesters? You know that they're going to be shot probably, as we witnessed in January. That's what happened. How are you going to protect and support the protesters? And Admiral, I have one question for you. How are you going to minimize the civilian harms? We have a lot of evidence that the Basij units, IRGC commanders, they are now gathering in schools, in hospitals, in purely residential areas because their headquarters are bombarded, they are ruined, of course. So how are you going to protect the civilians while you're attacking the IRGC people hard? Thank you.
I would just say on the protests, obviously the Iranian people showed a lot of courage in those protests, and we saw the Iranian regime was revealed for what it is in the way they reacted to that. The world saw that. No one's done more than President Trump to reopen the opportunity for those who want a free Iran to do so. Ultimately, it's common sense, as he said up front. Don't go out and protest while bombs are dropping inside Tehran and elsewhere. So there will come a moment where he determines, or they determine, that it's the time to seize that advantage. But there's a lot of things we're doing and the Israeli military is doing, targeting those individuals who are targeting those who protest. The more you do that and you erode their will and you erode their capabilities, the more you create an opportunity for people to boldly stand up.
One common outcome of American military action in the past has been taking in thousands of refugees into the American homeland, and I'm wondering if there's any safeguards put in place to make sure that the American people aren't having to have another wave of refugees from the Middle East or anywhere else come and stay here.
I think it's safe to say there's no plan for a wave of new Middle Eastern refugees to the United States of America. I think, as the president has pointed out for a long time, there are a lot of countries in the region who would be capable of providing that kind of support if need be, but that's certainly not something we're planning on. Yeah, back there. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Michael in Washington Times. I wanted to ask, I know, Semper Gumby is always a truism in the military. Did the British decision to refuse Diego Garcia have any impact on the mission itself? Did you have to adjust, or were you able to just completely, go with the mission without even worrying about that?
Well, as the president stated, it was unfortunate that the Brits didn't, from day one, say, "Hey, go ahead and have access." But we got there. We got there, and that's now part of the way that we're operationalizing bomber runs. And as part of when we say more to come, it's more fighter squadrons, it's more capabilities, it's more defensive capabilities, and it's more bomber pulses more frequently. The amount of firepower over Iran and over Tehran is about to surge dramatically. And part of it is that we're going to have even more basing. And it's not just the UK. We've had other friends step up, and we're grateful for that. Maybe one more right here.
Yeah, the Azeri president earlier today basically authorized his Minister of Defense to begin preparing troops for some type of retaliatory action after the airport strike. As the Department of War and CENTCOM been working on deconflicting with the Azeri if they were to move in or attempt something in retaliation?
I'm sure there are plans, and I'll let the Admiral speak to that. But that does allow me to kind of address this idea that the war might be expanding, or there's chaos, and nothing could be further from the truth. If anything, what Iran is doing by targeting allied countries that would otherwise want to stay out of this, they've actually pulled them into the American orbit. So now you've got UAE and Qatar and Bahrain and Saudi and Kuwait and others saying, "Hey, we're with you. We'll shoot with you. We'll fly with you. We'll defend with you." We'll allow you more basing and other a lot of which we can't talk about and won't talk about. But it's actually firming up the unity of the resistance in order to focus exactly where we need to. So this idea that it's expanding or going, no, it's actually simplifying in a number of ways exactly what we need to achieve and how we'll achieve it. I don't know if in just.
And it's 8:32 here on Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So what you were just hearing some of the comments from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth talking about a lot of various things about the United States capacity and what have you. And that was just a little taste of it. But our Amalia Roy has been looking into it just a little bit more because Amalia, he had a lot to say and people are kind of interested in the direction of this, the capacity, and how he feels this is all proceeding. Good evening.
Good evening. And yes, he did have a lot to say, but a lot of it really went back to saying that the U.S. military was going to continue with this operation until all of their objectives are met. It was him pushing back against it necessarily turning into a forever war. He was saying he does not believe that we're going to be stuck in that, but that they are going to continue, especially as they keep taking out Iranian military infrastructure and as they keep giving more resources to the U.S. military. He's confident in what they think they're going to be able to do. And he even says it when talking about that Iranians hoping that they can't sustain the level that they're going at right now.
That we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here.
The War Secretary says the U.S. military will keep hitting Iranian infrastructure and its Navy. He said they'll be dropping 500, 1,000, 2,000-pound bombs. According to the Pentagon, Iran's fired more than 500 ballistic missiles and more than 2,000 drones, hitting civilian targets throughout the Middle East. Hegseth also faced questions yesterday at the Pentagon about a reported strike on a girls' school in southern Iran Saturday.
All I can say is that we're investigating that. We, of course, never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that.
Pete Hegseth also says that U.S. Central Command will continue assessing the situation as the operation continues. In Tampa, Florida, Amalia Roy, Fox 29 News.
Amalia, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll continue to check in with you. They have a lot to say, and we will get updates from you periodically. That's our Amalia Roy getting us the information as it relates to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the things that are going on there. Bringing it a little bit closer to home, we've got a lot of issues we've been dealing with. I don't know, Chris O'Connell was probably out working on his story when Cam explained Mercury in retrograde as the reason for all of these broken water mains and electrical issues and what have you. Some may say it's freezing temperatures or old infrastructure, or Chris, it might just be Mercury in retrograde.
Maybe just bad luck.
Yeah.
That's what people here on Conroe Street here in Manayunk are having because, yes, take a look at what I'm sitting next to. Matter of fact, I should probably step back. Look at this sinkhole right here. A huge sinkhole on the 100 block of Conroe Street here on a residential, residential block here in Manayunk. A huge sinkhole the size of a car, number one, probably width and length, and then deep. I don't know how deep it goes down there, but it goes down pretty deep. Now, what caused all of this? That's what residents here want to know. Number one, there was a water main break here about a year, maybe 18 months ago, and they fixed it. But now, 18 months later, the same place, same hole. When Philadelphia Water Department came out here to look at it, which they have, they said it was a broken sewer line from a woman who actually lives right here, and she's going to have to cough up $12,000 to get it all fixed. Well, right now they're just trying to figure out how to get this fixed right now. The water department, streets department, they are on this. They're going to be coming back here, but they think it's the broken sewer main, the sewer line that actually caused this. The woman whose sewer line it is, she thinks it was the water main break here a couple years ago that caused this. But nonetheless, there's a huge hole here in the middle of Conroe Street here in Manayunk. Folks here, and look at this. This is like a foot away from this guy's front doorstep. And he is obviously worried. You can't walk down the sidewalk. You just got to be careful. So folks just want to get it fixed, number one. And then the woman here is just hoping she doesn't have to pay for it. But what caused it, like we said, going back to the beginning, Bill, it could be aging infrastructure. I mean, a lot of these water mains are over 100 years old. Nothing new here in the city of Philadelphia. We've had a lot of freeze-thaw cycles, which inevitably leads to water main breaks. But what exactly caused this, they really just don't know right now. They just want it fixed here, the residents anyway.
You really have to feel for a resident that nothing that they are aware that they're doing, and then this type of thing happens and they get hit with a $12,000 bill. Like that's a lot. Like, I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily the city's fault, and I've seen all of the discussions where you're responsible for anything kind of coming out of your house into the street. But still, like, I can only imagine getting that letter that this is all on you.
Yeah, I think the one part she goes, I understand if it's my fault. These are, these are old homes. These are 100-year-old homes. She understands if it was her fault, but there was a water main break at this very spot 18 months ago. She thinks that might have something to do with it, and that was not her fault.
Yeah, and now you get to battle the city. All right, Chris, let us know what we can figure out. We'll see more of your story in the 10 o'clock. Yeah, that's a lot. And it's unfortunate because it's one of those situations where we're not sure exactly whose fault it is, but from the perspective of the homeowner, your argument is almost always, well, I'm paying taxes for the infrastructure, and you as the city have more resources than I do. So if a water main breaks, I got to shell out 12 grand. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be right back. Our Dawn Timoney is going to get us caught up on a meeting for development in the 52nd Street area. Let us know everything that happened there just a short time ago. She'll join us after the break. Stay tuned. .840 Philadelphia Live on Fox Local, but not just Fox Local, also Fox 29 TikTok, Fox 29 YouTube page, Fox 29 Facebook page. All of those places you can stay up to speed with everything that we're doing. You can hit me up on my social media at Bill A. Fox 29. We are always eager to hear from you. Let us know things that are going on in your areas. You can comment on our Go Vote, our questions of the evening. all of those things, we are here for you live and in real time. Next up, our Dawn Timoney was out and about, went to a business corridor, a meeting to kind of see what's going on in the 52nd Street area. Hey, Dawn.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, the 52nd Street corridor between Arch and Pine is slated for some major safety and traffic improvements. It's in the work. And what's really cool about this and the meeting we went to tonight is they've been gathering input from the community for some time, and they put together a draft design plan. And so tonight was a different kind of meeting where they put out all the different plans, the city and the Enterprise Center CDC, who are kind of behind this improvement project, so people could come and see their ideas, see the draft designs, and talk to representatives about what 52nd Street could potentially look like. And you know, you're a Philadelphia resident. Certainly it's a major corridor. It's an historical and cultural hub in West Philadelphia, and SEPTA Route 52 bus runs right through it. It's one of the highest riderships, and apparently there are a lot of accidents. People are injured, even killed. So they're really working to improve the design and also make it look better. And tonight was just another opportunity for residents to give their feedback as they continue to move forward with this project. And we talked to one woman who was very intent on getting as much information as she could, and she's loving what she's seeing.
I think it's something that's definitely needed because I have a small business in the area on 51st and Pine. I have a travel agency, and I want to come in and see the improvements about the buses and about the sidewalks and the streets and everything. And they seem to be improving very well, and I just love that. That's why I'm so involved in it.
So residents, when they left tonight, they had an opportunity to fill out an exit survey where they could also write down any comments or concerns. And for people who couldn't make the meeting tonight, they can go online. They can go onto the Streets Department website and fill out a survey there. There are going to be plenty more opportunities, Bill, for people to give their suggestions, to provide their feedback, and then they'll continue to try to tweak the plan for this corridor. And hopefully 2027, 2028, they can finalize the plans, the funding, and get things moving and improve that area.
Hopefully. Dawn, as you know, I'm a lifetime Philadelphian, so very familiar with the 52nd Street, as you are. And over the years, that has been, in the past, it was a hub, as you described it, small businesses, you know, supporting the neighborhood. And like so many other places, you know, time and economic challenges can lead to some of those things deteriorating a little bit. But it would be amazing to see it kind of come back and support the community like it once did and could going forward.
Yeah, and that's really the goal. And I thought it was really great to see all the different people in the community who are really vested in it, not just business owners, because it is obviously there's a lot of local businesses along 52nd between Pine and Arch, but just people who live in that nearby neighborhood, and they want to make it safer if you're catching the bus, if you're walking, if you're driving, just to make it a better place to live and work and visit, and hopefully visit.
Yeah, we all would like to see that come back. So, Dawn, we will go and get people online to answer those questions, and we'll look forward to more from your story in the 10 o'clock news so people can get a little bit more of a taste of what was going on there. But thank you.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, because if you're from this area or have spent any real time in this area, like 52nd Street was everything from, you know, street vendors who were selling their wares up and down 52nd Street to small businesses. There's community that surrounds it. Like, it was one of the places where you could go and kind of establish a business, was relatively affordable, and you had the opportunity to just kind of be there, support your community, and have a business. And some of that still exists. There are still businesses that are holding on, standing strong, but I'm sure even they would like to see it continue to evolve and develop and be able to put dollars back into that community. So I will be watching Dawn's story closely at 10 o'clock. So there has been a lot of discussion over the last couple days about whether or not the president had the authority to kind of unilaterally or independently launch strikes against Iran. There are several who are saying you needed the support of Congress. And you certainly would need the support of Congress going forward if there is an official or formal declaration of war. It is to be expected that it is split along partisan lines, but both sides have been kind of making their comments about what they think about Congress and Senate being involved in the decision-making process. And a lot of elected officials have had a lot to say. Let's listen into some of the comments that they've made.
To our deployed servicemen and women, we have your back. I've been there. You're there now. You trained for this. You are ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States. You are the guardian of freedom and the American way of life. When a nation sends its finest young men and women in harm's way, it is the obligation of that nation to support its warriors. We know the imminent threat that Iran posed. I know the imminent threat that Iran posed. We know what happens when that nation does not support its servicemen and women. I hit boots on the ground a week after Benghazi, and I will not repeat that same mistake. We have the backs of our servicemen and women. We have the backs of our federal and state and local law enforcement. I've done both jobs. The military is the outer perimeter that keeps our country safe. State, federal, local law enforcement, that is the inner perimeter that keeps us safe. They are the thin blue line. They have the watch. And so to my colleagues across the aisle who are denying our Homeland Security personnel their checks, I urge you, pass the Homeland Safety Appropriations Package so that we can pay the personnel that keep us safe on that inner perimeter here in the United States that work for our Department of Homeland Security. Our nation's security and my constituents' security depends on it. Thank you so much for coming. And now I want to introduce my good friend and colleague and a fellow veteran, Marionette Miller-Meeks.
I should lower the podium. Thank you, Representative Evans. The freedoms we cherish, the freedom to speak our minds, the freedom of the press, the freedom to vote and pursue the American dream are not guaranteed by words on paper alone. They are secured by the courage and the sacrifice of men and women who wear the uniform of the United States. And as a 24-year military veteran, married to a 30-year military veteran, the father of a veteran, and of whom 8 children in our family, 6 of them served in the military, I know that truth all too well, ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Today, I want to shine a light on 2 brave Iowans who gave their lives in service to our country. Major Jeffrey R. O'Brien of Indianola and Sergeant Declan J. Cody of West Des Moines, who were among the American service members killed by Iranian strikes in Kuwait. They were sons of Iowa, soldiers who stepped forward to defend our nation and protect these freedoms that we hold so dear. And because of heroes like them, America has stood for nearly 250 years as the freedom capital of the world, a beacon of hope where liberty still shines bright. And let me also tell you what our military and our veterans want. After having seen the egregious activities of Iran continually at war with us since 1979. We've seen the Marine Corps barracks attacked. We've seen the U.S. embassies attacked. We have seen the U.S. coal attacked, and members of the military paraded and shamed. Our military members want to know that we, in fact, have their back. And that means a response from the United States, not seven presidents saying we cannot have a nuclear-armed Iran. To our active duty military, we know you are in harm's way. We pray for you. We pray that you have all of the training and the equipment that you need, and if you don't, contact us and we will make sure that you get it. But you are defending this great country, and we, in the Republican Conference, we have your back. To the men and women serving our nation here at home and abroad, and especially those standing watch in the Middle East tonight, thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your sacrifice. And know this, America stands with you, always. God bless our troops, and may God bless the United States of America. I'll now introduce Representative Nick LaLotte.
And it is 8:50 here on Fox Local, excuse me. This is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We were listening to some of the comments from the House Republicans who were showing their support for the troops, showing their support for the president. and offering their support for his right to make those decisions as it relates to Iran. Let's take a break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Get caught up with what's going on in sports. How are the Flyers doing? Do we know? Somebody just said, dun, 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 dun. All right, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. 8:54 on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. So people who are watching on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, all our Fox 29 platforms, get on there and chime in on your feelings about our sports teams, the things that are going on with them. And Breland, I was hoping that I could come back and say, okay, Flyers, you're doing good things tonight. Not so much, at least not so far.
No, they are losing right now 2-0. It is in the second intermission today. So shots aren't crazy. It's 18-11 in favor of Utah. But yeah, it's not looking so hot there today, Bill. That's for sure.
And this is kind of leading, you were saying earlier today that we're keeping an eye on who may not be playing. That kind of gives an indication on who possibly could be traded.
It could
any
have.
Insight?
Yeah, it could have. So the name that we were really looking at was Rasmus Ristolainen. There have been a bunch of different tweets that he's potentially in the market to be traded. Remember, the NHL trade deadline is tomorrow at 3 p.m., but Ristolainen is actually in the lineup, and funny enough, the Flyers actually honored him earlier today. He is now in his 800th career game. He tweeted out a little graphic, and as I'm sure you can imagine, Twitter is having a lot of fun with that because for most people, the writing seems to be on the wall for him departing this Flyers team. But yep, he very much is playing, and there weren't any sit-outs per se, but we had seen those throughout the league. Scott Laughton, actually former Flyer Scott Laughton, was not in the lineup yesterday for the Leafs. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but that's typically sometimes one indication that a player might be on the trade block.
Were there any subtle hints, like did his honorary video have Boyz II Men, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday as like the underlying music?
Yeah, well, you know that I'm not there. I'm here right now, so I didn't see the honorary video. They just tweeted out a graphic. That was the only thing to hit social media, was the graphic, the still graphic. But I don't even know if there was a video. But yeah, so far, no indications from the actual organizations themselves that they're planning to do anything. There's just been rumors around with beat writers and whatnot that this is a potential to occur tomorrow. Remember, 3 p.m. is the deadline, so a lot can change between now and then.
No end of the road, no yesterday, none of those subtle gestures.
Not to the best of my knowledge, no.
Nice. We shall we shall see what's going on. Are they in the position where any move that they probably make right now is not going to be significant enough that it makes a real change?
Yeah, it's for the future at this point. Maybe you'll get a little bit of spark, but for the most part, we are looking at your future endeavors here down the line for this Flyers team. And maybe, you know, if they can draft or if they can trade for draft picks, that will obviously help them as well down the line this year.
Finally, Breland, at the end of the Fantastic Sports Show, I was watching you and Jason in sunglasses and whatnot, talking about I caught the tail end of a concert that you're going to and Jason's getting dragged to. Like, what is going on?
No, he's not getting dragged to, okay? He's telling his wife and kids about it, so he's volunteering this information. He's not getting dragged anywhere. The Philadelphia Wings will be hosting the Oshawa Firewolves Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Xfinity Mobile Arena, and it's going to be Taylor Swift night. This is the first time in my recollection that they're doing Taylor Swift night. I have gone to plenty of Wings games over the spit since I've been in college, honestly. I started going when I was a student at Temple, but the premise of this is a Taylor Swift tribute night. So all during the game, they play music during the game, and it is very much a party-like atmosphere, and the entire time they'll be playing Taylor Swift songs. And then afterwards, Taylorville, which is a tribute band to Taylor Swift, they kind of do their own Eras tour, and that will be a post-game concert. So it really is, we've got the Eras tour at home at the Philadelphia Wings game for much cheaper than an Eras tour ticket at the Philadelphia Wings game this coming Sunday. So I will definitely be there. I'm taking two of my friends. We know Devin Caney. We love Devin Caney. Devin Caney works here. She's coming with me. My friend is coming in from LA, so I'm taking her. And Jason said he's going to take his family, his wife, his daughter, both big Swifties. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're going to have a great time. Jason is winning some cool points and gets to watch a pretty good game also. So that will be fun. All right, y'all enjoy. Let me know how it goes.
I certainly will.
All right. Thanks, Breland.
Bye.
And you'll hear more from Breland on sports. Coming up in the 10 o'clock news on Fox 29. Let's take a break as we head into the 9 o'clock hour. Let's find out from Cam what's trending, what are you searching, what are the hot topics, maybe check in on our Go Vote. All of that and more coming up. Stay with us. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. All right, since we last spoke to Cam about what was going on, Chris O'Connell told us a story about broken water main and a collapsed sidewalk. He labeled it as bad luck, but Cam, we know better. Mercury is in retrograde.
That's right. Mercury is in retrograde. But before we get there, let me just do the trending topic that is number one right now nationally. Unfortunately, Britney Spears was arrested last night in Ventura, California, on suspicion of driving under the influence. She was arrested at around 9:30 at night and booked and released at around 6 a.m. their time. So, you know, it looks like her manager described the incident as inexcusable and said that she will comply with the law. And that is trending nationally along with basketball. So luckily we got that update from Breland. But yes, Bill, another story that is trending nationally is that Amazon outage that occurred today. And I believe it's because Mercury is in retrograde. So I wanted to do something a little fun, if you're okay with that. What is your astrological sign, Bill?
I'm a Cancer, July.
You're a Cancer.
Yes.
Okay, so our astrologer, Tracy Rogers, she sends out these weekly horoscopes. And so I'm going to read yours. So let's see, for this retrograde, basically. So for you, Cancer, everything from the emails in your inbox and the oil change you've been putting off to the blog edits and classroom assignments you've been procrastinating on could use tangible actions. So all of those things might go wrong for you this week. Does that resonate at all? Any of that?
I mean, there's been a lot of technical glitches and challenges and concerns, but we also have been launching a new 3-hour show and trying out new technology. So yeah, I would say some of that makes sense. It could use some more of my attention.
Yeah. So I honestly, Chris O'Connell, he has a great point there. There are a lot of water main breaks and just things that are going on, and I do think that it could be connected to this Mercury in retrograde. That's just me, though.
All right. I also had 4 doctor's appointments and tests yesterday. So I was catching up on stuff that I was a little bit behind on. I told you the lights went off and the water went off in the last 2 weeks at my new old house. Like that, there have been challenges. So you're gonna get this started. I'm gonna go downstairs and have a flat. There's all kinds of drama going on right now. Don't put this out in the universe. We need knock on wood on this podium that we've got here.
Oh Lord.
So Britney Spears is trending. Mercury in retrograde. People are also looking into as well.
Yes, they are.
All right, it makes sense. It resonates.
It tracks.
Right.
It tracks.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Cam.
Thank you, Bill.
We will check in a little bit later on. All right, we also still have our Go Vote, fox29.com/Go Vote. Let us know what your favorite snacks are. What's your go-to snack? Chris just pulled it up. Jake, what are we doing? We're getting responses to this.
Responses. Something sweet is really dominating right now with 61%. You know, I can't blame people because I have a huge sweet tooth myself. What about you?
I do. I try to manage all of that, and I also have a vacation planned, so I'm in trying to get myself right for vacation mode. But yeah, I have to, it takes extreme discipline for me to not eat dessert every night.
I get that. We also have people chiming in on Instagram, adding some other options that weren't on here. Some people are saying cookies. Some people, I saw someone say jelly beans, which I thought is kind of a unique one, but okay, you can't really go wrong with jelly beans. So
there's nothing negative here.
No, I feel like every snack, I feel like you could argue that every snack is the best snack.
I'm not sure. What are cheese doodles?
Cheese doodles? Okay, yeah. So,
what are cheese doodles?
Like
cheese curls. But not the like crunchy ones. No, because those are nasty.
You don't like Cheetos?
No, but it's weird because there's something about the consistency that bothers me with Cheetos. I do like the puffy ones.
Okay, yeah.
You know, and now they've got like honey something puffy ones.
They always have the
honey hot or something like that. Those are good. But ever since I was young, the really crunchy, the Cheeto, no disrespect to Cheetos, and you can sponsor our show. We would love to support you, and I'll sit here and be a Cheeto crunching fool. But the puffy ones are better.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I was never the biggest fan. You know, I wouldn't go out and get them, but if I was at like a party or something and they're on the table, I would reach in.
Now, cheese doodles have a 0 vote right now.
No. On National Cheese Doodle Day too.
Yeah, nobody on earth likes cheese doodles apparently, And healthy food only's got a 0% too.
I know. I mean, I guess everyone has some sort of snack that they can enjoy.
There you go. What else should we add to it? All right. So it looks good. You can get over there and vote. Fox29.com/go vote. The something sweet dessert category is running away with this. I guess this falls into to the healthy category. My dessert today, I found this company who I'm not going to give you the name because, they're not advertising it. There is a company that makes healthy cookie dough.
Oh my God.
And it's like protein-packed edible cookie dough in these little containers. Small business, looks like it's a woman-owned business. Maybe we'll bring them on the show and then we can actually talk about them. But I brought that in with my dinner tonight, and I don't feel bad about that. It's a couple hundred calories. It is, the one I had tonight was like peanut butter cup crunch or something like that. Yeah, it was good. And it's like 20 grams of proteins. For the time my vacation comes, I'm gonna be all swole.
No, that sounds so good. You'll have to tell me the name after the show.
I got you. And we'll book them for the show, Chris, so that we can then talk about it. We'll interview them. We'll do like a small business. It's March, right? So we'll do a Women's History Month spotlight on this woman-owned business that does the cookie dough. Chris, you voted cheese doodles?
For my lady. She loves it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Got one.
Represent for her.
All right. So now we see there is a vote.
There we go. Thank you, Chris.
For cheese doodles.
All out.
All right. All right, we're going to take a break. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can continue to vote, fox29.com/go vote. Let us know what you think. The cheese doodle is about to make a run. I'm for the healthy protein-packed cookie dough, but that's a discussion for another day. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. We'll be right back. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. It is about 9:10. We're going to check in shortly with Kathy Orr, find out what's going on with weather as we head into our final hour, take you up until 10 o'clock, and then pass things over to the Fox 29 News at 10. So that is the goal with Fox Local and all streaming platforms. Keep you informed, going 24 hours a day live. So stay with us. That is going to continue to happen as we continue to expand. I just put up a video showing you a little behind the scenes. You can go to Bill A. Fox 29 on social media and you'll see a little bit of what's going on in this room as we continue to work. So earlier today on the show that I host at 4 o'clock, our 4 o'clock news called Behind the News, we were looking into what this whole situation with the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, being removed actually means. What's the impact that it's going to have in a lot of really key and significant areas. So we asked Jack Tamarcio, who is a former Assistant Director of Homeland Security himself, as well as an expert on a lot of different things, international policy and terrorism and security and what have you. Jack is currently on vacation. We have asked him multiple times to break that vacation and answer some questions because there's so much going on. And so we did that once again today to get his take on everything that's going on. And here's what he had to say. We wanted to get some kind of discussion on the impact that that has. It's obviously a very important position. And so Jack Tamarcio, who we continue to reach out to as he's on vacation and continues to make himself available to us, we appreciate you doing that. And in this particular case, you formerly served Undersecretary of the Department of Homeland Security. So you know a little something about this. And I thank you for taking time again away from your vacation.
Sure, Bill. Glad to be here.
So, and I ask you generally when we get you on, when you hear about something like this, I don't know if it was shocking because over the last couple of days, a lot of information was coming out, but it certainly is impactful.
Well, whenever a cabinet secretary is fired, and that's what happened here, she was fired. Whenever that happens, it's a big shock through Washington. It wasn't really a surprise to me that she was fired because she had made some pretty questionable decisions and questionable leadership over the last year and a half, or the year that she's been in office. And I think that her tenure was probably put in serious jeopardy earlier this week when she testified before this Senate subcommittee. And she really couldn't defend some of the things that she had done. One of the biggest issues is she got in it with Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, who's a kind of a folksy guy. He sounds like he came off a farm, but he's actually a Rhodes Scholar, and he's a pretty smart fellow. And he asked a question about whether she could justify the expenditure of $220 million for a series of ads in which she was prominently displayed in these ads regarding telling people who were not American citizens to self-deport. And she said it made a real impact. And Kennedy's retort to that was that, well, it made a real impact on rebranding you. And so that kind of left her speechless. But she had said that the president had seen the ads and had approved them. And the president apparently came out and said, I did not approve these ads. And that, I think, may have sealed the deal because it embarrassed him. And apparently there was a heated discussion 2 days ago between the president and Corey Lewandowski, who is her special advisor at the DHS. He's not a government employee, but a special employee in that she doesn't get paid. And there was a very heated argument between the president and Lewandowski about something. It was probably about this. So those of us who had been in the department and understand Washington a little bit probably saw this coming. And it was pretty quick. So she's out, and Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, a Republican from Oklahoma, is the nominee to take her place.
What kind of void, Department of Homeland Security, I'm telling you anything, is involved in a lot of things and sitting there and, protecting the border. We've got challenges with ICE and immigration that are constantly being discussed. Issues involvement with terrorism at a time that we are involved in an active conflict. What kind of void is left when you're kind of in this transitional period of losing the person who's heading the department?
Well, the department is the third largest department in the federal government after the DOD and the Veterans Administration. They have over 225,000 employees spread over approximately 21 or 22 different federal agencies. And it's a real mishmash. You look at it, on one end of the spectrum, you have the Customs and Border Protection and ICE. The other end of the spectrum, you have the U.S. Secret Service, you have the Coast Guard, you have the Federal Air Marshals. There's just a lot of different agencies within DHS and a lot of separate, I call them rice bowls that people are protecting. Everybody wants to protect their own little rice bowl in Washington. And the mission, of course, is very important. It's protecting the borders. It's making sure that there's no domestic terrorism or no foreign terrorism coming in. It's protecting the coast with the Coast Guard, guarding the president and other dignitaries and senior officials in the government, which is done by the Secret Service. You have, of course, Customs and Border Protection. You have Immigration Customs Enforcement. You have all these different agencies. So it's a very tough job. And I just don't think she really led the department that well. I think there were just a lot of things that she was doing that were probably not in the best interest of the personnel in the department and not in the best interest of the country. And I think it got to a crisis stage. And I do know from some of my colleagues that are there that the internal morale at DHS was just awful. And that's a leadership failure.
But at a time, one more question, and I, again, appreciate you taking time off your vacation. I said last time we were going to let you get back to vacation, and then things just keep happening, and we keep reaching out to you. Now, though, when you're talking about somebody who still has to go through a process, like you still have to be confirmed. You still have to have, I guess, some level of hearing to take place. So what kind of happens now? Because now it becomes political again, right? When you start having hearings and confirmation at a time where it seems like the department just needs leadership.
Yeah, I mean, I actually am a little surprised that Senator Mullen was the nominee. He has no background in law enforcement. He has no background in Homeland Security. He's a very wealthy guy, mainly inherited wealth from his family in Oklahoma. He's a mixed martial arts fighter in the past. And he's done some questionable things. He tried to get into Afghanistan as a U.S. Senator to rescue a friend of his who was either an American citizen or an Afghani. He was barred from going in by the U.S. government. He tried a couple times to do it from Tajikistan. It didn't work. He almost got into a physical fight during a Senate hearing with the head of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, a guy named Sean O'Brien. And he was finally talked down from stepping outside and punching this guy out by, of all people, Bernie Sanders. So I don't know exactly what his qualifications are. I know he is a loyalist to the president. He's been a loyalist from day one. So that might be really all that matters in this administration. But he will have to go through Senate confirmation. I expect he will be confirmed because there are more Republican senators than there are Democratic senators in the Senate. So I expect most of those Republican senators will vote the party line, and he will be confirmed.
Jack Tamarcio, we will let you go back to vacation for the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. But we appreciate you
It always happens.
taking
It
some
always
time
happens.
out. Hey, listen, I appreciate you being available to us. Thank you so much for your expertise. That is Jack Tamarcio, and an expert in a lot of things, but former Under Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security, so it made perfect sense to reach out to him and get him. We wanted to get... So that was the discussion that took place with Jack Tamarcio. He gave us a lot of insight into this process, what we can expect from it. He also referenced an interesting back and forth between Senator Mullen, who is now the nominee for DHS Secretary, and Union leader Sean O'Brien. Interestingly enough, and we're going to try to play that exchange for you at some point in the next several minutes, but interestingly enough, Sean O'Brien actually came out earlier today. He's the person who had a run-in. They almost came to blows, and he came out earlier today endorsing the selection. So interesting. We're going to try to play that for you coming up in just a minute. And we're going to check in, see what's going on with weather. Our Kathy Orr is ready to break it all down for you, so stay put. We'll be right back. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. It is 9:22 here in Philadelphia, the Fox 29 studios, Fox Local, all streaming platforms. We are Philadelphia Live, bringing you things that are happening up to the second. And our Kathy Orr continues to follow the weather. And I'm going to say, Kathy, it just keeps getting better. The things that we are looking forward to, it's just going to get better. We're going to get more sun. It's going to be more warm, or it's going to be warmer. I'm not terribly concerned about it being 40 degrees because I lived through 4 degrees. Seems like it's all good.
And you lived through 4 below.
That part.
You lived through snow and ice, so you won't mind what's going to be behind me in a few minutes. Actually, that right there, that's not going to bother you. It's rain. There's a few rumbles of thunder, so very spring-like, and it's coming to a neighborhood near you in the next hour or two. Outside right now, it's very quiet on Independence Mall as we take a live look. Temperatures still in the mid-40s, and they're not going to be all that chilly during the overnight. Visibility down to a half mile. That's at Atlantic City Airport. That's going to change real quick when the rain moves in. Rain tends to mix up the atmosphere, and as it does, we kind of mix out that fog. Here is a look at Ultimate Doppler. This is impressive. We haven't seen rain like this since the fall. You can see those yellows and oranges. That's moderate to heavy rain, and look at all that lightning, thunder showers moving through Berks County, also through the Lehigh Valley, extending down into Lancaster County and heading into places like Upper Bucks, Montgomery, and that lightning heading into Upper Monco and also Chester County. As we take a closer look, you can see that heavy rain in Reading. Let me go back to that radar. And also just to the north of Upper Dublin, we're seeing the showers, Upper Bucks as well. So more to come. As I mentioned, it's moving to the south and to the east. So it will be in Philadelphia, even in South Jersey. Here's a look at our Fox Futurecast. It has a really good grip on what's going on. So we'll look through the 9, 10, 11 o'clock hours. And then by about 1, 2, it's moving out of here and it's weakening, leaving temperatures above freezing. The Poconos borderline at 32, but it will be drying out as we go through the overnight. That's the good news. Temperatures mainly in the upper 30s, lower 40s for the morning. Right now, 44 in Philadelphia is a cold rain in Exton at 43, 44 in Lancaster with some lightning. Temperatures mild to the south and east of the Delaware Valley where a warm front is. And to the north, we are stuck in that weather rut, that easterly flow off the ocean, keeping it cloudy, keeping it cool into the overnight. Tomorrow, more of the same, guys. We're socked in with the clouds, temperatures in the 40s, and I wish I could say it would be a sunny Saturday. Not the case, but temperatures will be warming Saturday into the 50s, and then a surge of warmth when that warm air finally comes up from the south Saturday night and into Sunday. The whole eastern seaboard will be enjoying this warm-up Saturday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as a big ridge builds in the east. The ridge is when we see all those temperatures, those yellows and those oranges pushing up the East Coast. So next couple days, yeah, they're transitional. They're still cloudy. But by Sunday, a mix of sun and clouds, daylight saving time begins. We gain an hour of daylight, mid-60s, 70s for Monday and Tuesday. Even Wednesday, mid to upper 70s. Will we touch 80? Some places could. Maybe southern Delaware. It's going to be close. But listen, 3 days in the 70s, not even mid-March. That's really good. And we deserve it, Bill. It's been a long, cold, snowy winter.
Absolutely deserve it. Now, Kathy, you do the ladies' room with Cam and Sheba.
Yes.
Do you believe in this Mercury and retrograde stuff?
Yes. Yeah, Cam has made me a believer. And
all right, because I didn't, and she made me a believer too.
Did she tell you, and you thought things that have happened to you recently would be a little bit off?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And did she tell you do not make any major decisions until this ends?
She did not tell me that.
Okay, do not make any major. I was about to make a fairly big decision, and I'm holding off.
Oh.
Because Cam.
What qualifies as a big decision? I just booked a vacation.
Is that a big decision? No, that's not. That's good.
I mean, it could make the station make a big decision for me.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But
well,
yeah,
I made a big decision. I'm now working this night shift to go ahead and launch this show. So that was a pretty big decision. Now that was made with me.
And that, yes, and that was made before you knew that Mercury was in retrograde.
Well, I didn't know Mercury was in retrograde until about an hour ago.
Exactly.
But Mercury's been in retrograde for a while, right?
Yes, and it will be again in the fall. This happens a lot, as I understand.
Okay.
So
All right.
we can't be too worried about it, or we'll never make any decisions, right?
That part. All right, I'm going on my vacation.
You're fine. You're
Knock
fine,
on
Bill.
wood.
Yeah, you're
Sounds
good.
Thank you, Kathy. We'll
You
see you
bet.
in the news at 10. Kathy Orr breaks it all down for you. She said that I can go ahead and make those decisions. Anybody on the chat boards, Jake, have anything to say about this whole Mercury in retrograde thing? I know there's a lot of people who deeply believe in that, and I certainly don't want to dismiss it because I'm the person who would dismiss it, and then like fate would make it prove to me that it is in fact a real thing. So I believe, for anybody who needs to hear that. Chris is here with me trying to find that run-in between Senator Mullen and union leader Sean O'Brien. We're going to try to get that going for you in just a second. We will let you hear that run-in. That is especially interesting now that that individual is going to be nominated, or has been nominated, to be the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. No one has ever questioned his toughness. That's not the issue, as a senator and an MMA fighter. But there have been some instances that took place that Jack Tamarchio, our expert who was on with us earlier and previously served in the Department of Homeland Security, said may be challenges in terms of the confirmation. Let's take a quick break, as it is 9:30 here on Fox Local and all streaming platforms. I'm Bill Anderson. We'll be right back. We've got that interaction for you, so we'll play it for you after the break. Stay tuned. On Fox Local, and we actually were just talking about the situation with Senator Mullen and his nomination to be the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. We were talking about the challenges that we are facing as it relates to the conflict in Iran, and there has been quite a bit of I don't want to go all the way to tough talk, although he kind of described it as tough talk. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and our Amalia Roy has been looking into that. I guess I'm not stretching it, Amalia, when I say kind of tough talk, and the Secretary expressing that the United States is in this for the long haul if necessary, with whatever it takes.
Over the past few days, Secretary Pete Hegseth has been reiterating the point that there are more resources coming to this operation in Iran, and that as that's happening, at the same time, more resources are going down in Iran. And he is adding that it's something that the Iranians aren't ready for. He said that earlier today that Iran is hoping that they can't sustain, which is really a bad a miscalculation for the IRGC and Iran.
Which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here. Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain it.
Infrastructure and its Navy. They say they'll be dropping 500, 1,000, and 2,000-pound bombs. According to the Pentagon, Iran's fired more than 500 ballistic missiles and more than 2,000 drones hitting civilian targets throughout the Middle East. Hegseth also faced questions yesterday at the Pentagon about a reported strike on a girls' school in southern Iran Saturday.
I know all I can say is that we're investigating that. We, of course, never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that.
Pete Hegseth says that they will continue assessing the situation as the operation continues, but he does add that he's pushing back on claims that it's going to turn into a forever war.
That it? Amalia, thank you very much, and we'll continue to look deeper into this. It feels like more comments come out every single day, and that is one of the concerns. So it is encouraging for a lot of people to hear him say that there is no commitment to this being a forever war. Amalia Roy, thank you so much for your input, your comments, and keeping us informed. This is Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So guys, we were talking a little bit about before the situation that has now come up. It has resurfaced because you have Senator Mullen, who has been nominated to be the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. With that comes the whole confirmation process. Now, keep in mind that the confirmation process is not especially challenging because Republicans hold the majority, so it is Republican senators who ultimately will confirm individuals. But it does speak to, if you have to have confirmation hearings, it does speak to the fact that more things will be dug up, more questions could be asked, and on the heels of a somewhat controversial removal of Secretary Noem, you can expect that there will be perhaps some more depth of analysis for Senator Mullen. So situations like the one that he had with former union or current union leader, but it was a hearing that took place a couple years ago with Sean O'Brien that got a little heated. They may resurface. Here's what happened.
Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
No,
guy.
no, stop it.
Is that your solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond, Mr.
Hold
Chairman?
it. Hold it. If
Hold
we
on.
can't, no,
This is
I have
what
the
he
mic.
said.
I'm sorry.
This is
Hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and
You-
bullies.
You have,
And that's
you
what-
have
I don't
the
like
mic.
you because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Hold it. You have the mic.
Yeah.
You have time.
All right.
Make your statement.
Then let's do this, because I did challenge you and I accepted your challenge, and you went quiet.
No, I didn't go quiet. I was.
Hold on.
No,
You
hold
challenged me to a cage match,
No,
acting like a
sir.
12-year-old schoolyard
Hold it.
bully.
Excuse
Sir,
me.
hold on.
Hold it. No, excuse me. I have the
I
mic.
will say exactly.
Senator
what he
Mullen,
said.
I have the mic. You have questions on any economic issues, anything that said, go for it. We're not here to talk about physical abuse.
You brought.
We're not
him
talking
in.
about. Of course, I
And,
did.
and let me show you his hearing, because I want to expose this thug to who he is. And
If you don't point at me, that's disrespectful.
All right.
I don't care about respecting you at all. I
don't
respect
respect
people that
you at all.
respect. So
All right, hold it.
let me
Hold it. No.
You're one of
No,
100 of the most
Hold
elite
it,
people
please.
acted.
Please. All right. This is a. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hearing to discuss economic issues. All right? If you have questions, for Mr. O'Brien or anybody else on what he has said, go for it.
I mean,
but we're not here to talk about fights.
Okay. So, yeah. So there was that. Now, what's interesting about that, and everyone here in the control room is laughing because it was ridiculous at the time. It's ridiculous that it has now resurfaced. But what is interesting about that is the gentleman, the union leader, who's still in a position of power and influence, who was ready to fight on the floor of the Senate with Senator Mullen, is one of the first people who stepped out and said that he supports him for the position of Secretary of Homeland Security. And his quote was, "Nobody's going to fight harder than Senator Mullen." Senator Mullen, I mean, I guess that's true. Senator Mullen was also a former MMA fighter, but it was, I guess funny is probably the wrong choice of words, but it was interesting watching Bernie Sanders, Senator Sanders, be the one who has to step up in between these guys who are getting ready to fight on the floor of Senate. And he's like, no, I have the mic. I have the microphone. You'll get your chance. Kudos to Senator Sanders for stepping up. But we play that because those are the types of things that come out when you are going through a confirmation hearing, when you are trying to analyze whether or not somebody has the temperament for a position. Now, that was a couple years ago. And the person he had the run-in with is supporting him. So who would know better? But it's going to be interesting. Jack Tamarcio earlier said that those are some of the things that he thinks could be potential obstacles to the confirmation. Let's take a break. We are into the home stretch. It's about 9:40 before we pass the camera and the microphone off to the Fox 29 News at 10. But we still got a couple more things to discuss, including how some of the senators were reacting to the news that Kristi Noem was being removed from her position as Secretary of Homeland Security, and more comments. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Philadelphia Live on Fox Local. So after Senator Mullen was given the nomination, he had some pretty brief comments. He was captured. There's what's called a stakeout cam. So there are cameras all over Washington, D.C., where the media has access to them. The senators and the House and the Congress people coming in and out of their offices and hearings and what have you often will stop and make comments. And so Senator Mullen got the opportunity to respond to the fact that he was nominated, and here's what he had to say.
Super excited about it. Humbling. And that's the best way I can say it. Super humbling.
Have you talked to Secretary Noem yet? Did you
I
have a
haven't.
chance
I'm actually, well, neither one of us had time to talk, so I'm going to go give her a call in just a second. You know, our families are very close, and this happened very quick, so we're gonna go have a conversation with her in just a second.
Did the president say anything about what he would like you to do in this job that Noem is not?
I will never discuss private conversations. Never have. I'm not going to do that now either. But we're super excited about the opportunity, and we're going to, do the best we can. We're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland. And no matter if you support me, you don't support me, I'm going to be laser focused on getting that done.
Senator, I just have a really quick question. What was your first reaction to just the news that you were nominated for this position, just amidst everything and that's happening?
Humbling, because I had to call my dad, and because it happened quick, right? I had to call my wife and call my dad both, and it's just pretty humbling when you start thinking about it. A little kid from Westville, Oklahoma, gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat. So thank you guys.
How did you find out? Via the truth?
And I think just like a really initial question. I mean, there's so many things that's happening within DHS. What would be your main objective or goal?
We got we're gonna get focused on that, and we'll get back to you on certain details.
Yeah. When do you expect to be confirmed? Were you surprised, Senator?
The phone call I got from the president was right before the statement went out.
Okay, thank you.
So this all happened pretty quickly, according to him. And it all happened seemingly in response to some of the comments that former Secretary Noem made. But it was announced to the public, as a lot of things are, in a series of tweets or statements on Truth Social. So first, it was President Trump who had this released when this started to become public. This was his comment announcing that Markwayne Mullin from Oklahoma will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Now, keep in mind, when this was all being announced, there was still kind of coming out the concerns or the questions about what exactly was happening with the current, at that point, Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. So this was kind of an announcement, but also a response to people who the new appointment or new nomination was floating out there. So this is what he said. He announced Markwayne Mullin, but he also talked about this special envoy for the Shield of America's position that Kristi Noem will be moving into. So that was kind of his response. He thanks her for his service. He talked about the fact that she was doing a great job, spectacular results, especially on the border. So that was the president's tweet or Truth Social comment or his announcement. Then, Secretary Noem responded, and again, this was kind of the theme of the day. There were comments without really acknowledging the real issue that was going on. So she just thanked President Trump for appointing her as this special envoy for the Shield of Americas. No mention of the fact that she was being removed from her current position. She said that she looks forward to working with Secretary Rubio, Secretary Hegseth, said that they're incredible leaders, they're going to do good things, and she talks about the importance of security for the United States in the Western Hemisphere. And then went on to talk about her role at the Department of Homeland Security and all of the amazing accomplishments. Again, it sounded like, similar to the speech that she made earlier, it was like a state of how well she felt that she was doing in the position. So all of that came out. It was a little odd, the way this all went down, and odd, I guess, an interesting choice of words. But because this was happening, the media was running with it. There were a lot of discussions about what this means, the impact that it's having, and at the same time, it almost seemed like a celebration from the people who were involved. I have this new position, I'm moving on. So obviously, people wanted to find out. So that was the celebratory. The Senator Mullin, he had to call his father. He was really impressed by this. He is looking forward to this opportunity. It's neat, in his words, for a young man from Oklahoma to have the opportunity to serve on the president's cabinet. Then the president talking about all of the successes. Then Secretary Noem talking about all the successes and how she's looking forward to this new position. The response from the other side, as expected, was not nearly as joyous or encouraging. And here's what some of the people coming out of various hearings or out of their offices on the Democratic side had to say.
This agency's out of control. I am so happy that one of the worst administrative leaders I've ever seen is gone. But the agency itself is still reckless and out of control, and we should not be funding it until these issues are addressed.
On that note, will you vote to confirm? Your colleague for this
Look, I've known Mark Wayne now for a good amount of time. It is not about the head of this agency. It is about what the agency is doing in our communities. And obviously there'll be hearings, and I think a lot of this should be brought out. But we have an agency that is out of control, and what they're doing in our communities, what they are doing to the Constitution, their reckless, continuous violation of court orders, even Republican-appointed judges, they are routinely violating those court orders. That makes this whole agency, to me, morally bankrupt.
Do you see Senator Mullen as an upgrade over Kristi Noem?
I honestly, the way she has led that agency, she has demonstrated a complete incompetence. It's hard for me to imagine somebody being as bad as she was.
You said it would do nothing on the funding debate, but what could help unlock that issue, especially now that you have someone like Mullen stepping up?
Well, this is the problem right now, is that even the issues that are being negotiated, Republicans have said, no, they're not going to insist upon warrants before they barge into American homes. They said, no, we are not going to make sure that agents are clearly identified. They have put out of the realm of even negotiation the common sense things we ask from law enforcement agencies all over our country. So even the realm of negotiation right now makes me believe that anything that we come up with is not going to rein in this agency that's out of control.
Are you going to want a commitment from Mullen on that piece before voting to confirm him?
I want the nightmares in our communities to stop. I want him to commit to end the warrantless entrances of Americans' homes, to end the violation of Americans' free speech rights, to end coming into American communities and instilling so much fear, people are afraid to even walk their children to school. I want them to end having ICE rushing into churches and our public schools and rushing into courthouse proceedings. I want this to be an agency that is not upending our communities, terrorizing our communities, violating our laws. I want it to be an agency that's focusing on what Donald Trump said, the narrow mission of making sure that violent people are not in our community.
Senator, you said that Secretary Noem should face responsibility, be held accountable. It seems like something that probably won't happen in a Republican Congress. Is that something that falls to a Democratic control?
No one should be above the law. And what Donald Trump seems to be saying with his pardon of January 6th violent rioters who beat police right where we're standing, with people who've created incredible corruption, literally dealt with transnational funding of terrorism in our country. He seems to be pardoning people who have done horrible, horrible things. Nobody is above the law. And if she violated the law, we know she violated, her agency violated court orders. You know that she knew that the court had ordered them not to deport people, and yet they still did. I think that she is not above the law. She should be held account for any violations of our law or Constitution that she did while she was in her position. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
The president has fired Kristi Noem. Good riddance. But the problems at this agency, at ICE, transcend any one person. The rot is deep. The president has to end the violence and rein in ICE.
What would you need to confirm Senator Mullen to this position? Do you need assurances on immigration?
This is a problem of policy, not personnel. The rot is deep. No one person can straighten this up until the president changes the whole agency, stops the violence, and reins in ICE.
What do you think about his selection of Senator Mullen to lead this agency?
I told you, this is not an issue of personnel. It's an issue of policy. The rot is way deep down. It transcends any one individual.
Mr. Leader, some Democrats are saying that they think this might make it easier for your negotiations on DHS.
That's up to them. They've been stonewalling us.
But you're in the negotiations.
They've been stonewalling us on the most important issues, and those have to change, and they have to change them. We have to change them by legislation, because any one person, I don't trust any one person being in charge of this agency as long as Trump is president, given the policies he's espoused, given how ICE has been structured. The rot is deep.
Does that mean that Democrats are going to block any nominee from getting through?
As I said, he's got to change the whole policies in ICE. transcend. It's not a personnel issue, so I wouldn't focus on that.
So it had a legislative thing.
So look, I think it's positive news that Kristi Noem is being essentially fired. She should have been fired a long time ago. It is telling and at the same time distressing that what seems to have gotten her fired was her PR campaign, because she acknowledged that the president was aware and supportive of this PR campaign, this $220 million boondoggle, this waste of taxpayer resources that largely promoted Kristi Noem. That was a sweetheart contract given to the husband of one of her staff, also someone who did her PR back in South Dakota. That was a horrible waste of taxpayer resources. But this was what ended up apparently, reportedly getting her fired when her leadership at the agency resulted in Americans getting killed in Minneapolis and elsewhere, and the kind of chaos we've seen throughout the country says a lot about the priorities and the concerns of this administration. But look, I'm glad she's going, and soon I hope gone, and pray that there's a new chapter for DHS, but I will believe it when I see it.
Senator, do you? Some Democrats have said perhaps this could help with the DHS negotiations. What do you think?
I don't know. It couldn't hurt, but I suspect that the White House is really running the DHS negotiations. They're going to call the shots when it comes to what kind of reforms they're going to support. So I don't see it immediately changing the dynamic, but look, I think it's an unmitigated positive to see her leave the administration. There really has been almost no accountability for any of the overwhelming malfeasance in the administration. So finally, there is at least some accountability.
Senator, are you a yes on Mark Wayne Mullen? And do you think there's anything he can do or should be doing if he gets another?
I'm going to reserve judgment on Senator Mullen. We'll hear what he has to say. I start out with a great deal of skepticism, to be candid, that he or anyone else is prepared to change the policies of that department, because I think the policies of the department are coming from the president. And the president is okay with chaos in our streets. We're not seeing chaos around the world. He is very much the chaos president. That is his leadership style, for lack of a better description. So I don't know whether our new secretary is going to change that, but I will wait to hear what he has to say.
Senator, that gets into a tricky area, though. The president was elected by the American people. He's clear about his policy. You know, so if your judgment about a new secretary is based on the president, I'm not sure how that works.
Well, I think you're right. I would agree that the fish rots from the head, and the real problem that we have with the chaos in our streets is coming from the White House and from the Oval Office. But I evaluate each of the nominees for cabinet positions and other positions on their merits. We'll hear what he has to say and whether he's going to try to lead this department in a different way. So I'm not going to prejudge it completely, but I will acknowledge I'm going to go into this with a lot of skepticism based on what I've seen.
So Senators Booker, Schumer, and Schiff, no huge surprise that they were not fans of former Secretary Noem, that they were not upset at the fact that she was being removed, but they also withheld judgment. They had issues with the agency and not so much with Senator Mullen, saying that they would be open to it. Now keep in mind, they don't have the votes to block the nomination anyway, but there are tactics that they can use to kind of prolong the process. And of course, those were just the people that were caught coming out of various hearings or meetings and actually spoke to the press. There were people who wished her well, people like Secretary Marco Rubio, who tweeted out this comment: I look forward to working with Kristi Noem as Special Envoy for the Shield of Americas, our new security initiative comprised of 13 countries. Kristi has achieved incredible results as Secretary of Homeland Security and will be a tremendous asset in our effort to promote security and prosperity in the Western Hemisphere. That was the comment from Secretary Marco Rubio. And there were others that echoed that sentiment, obviously, as support for a lot of these nominations fall along party lines. To be continued. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to wrap things up here on Philadelphia Live on Fox Local.